Hello and welcome back to the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship qualifiers as we head to the heights of Austria's Spielberg circuit before we drop down to sea level and head to the dunes of Zandvoort. Two very, very different circuits, of course, ahead of us, and car choice will be critical across the two. 2 weeks ago, we had a qualifier where the top 5 scorers over 2 races progressed to the main event, and that is the case today. Those 5 drivers being Kuba Brzezinski, Nikodem Wisniewski, David Noj, Ben Spanky, and Andre Santos. Who is going to join them today? Lewis McGlade alongside Robert Wiesenmüller today, and Rob, those risky choices on cars, some returning names as well. This is going to be a great pair of races.
Hello everyone, hello Lewis. Yes indeed, this will be exciting. Second shootout, 5 drivers already through, and a lot of drivers still waiting here. Some were unlucky in the first shootout, some didn't even participate. And yeah, we've got quite an event ahead of us, and 2 completely different circuits. Start and stop here at Red Bull Ring at Austria, and then a very flowing, quite narrow circuit, not a lot of high-speed parts at Zandvoort. So this will be really interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, of course. Austria is one of those tracks which is kind of open to a bit of racing. You know, you can make your way up should you have a poor to mediocre qualifying session. You can actually make some progress back at this field. It is one that invites some overtaking thanks to the stop and start nature of the circuit. Next round, not so much. Zandvoort is one, like you say, it's a very narrow circuit. It's very tricky to overtake. Track position in that is going to be critical. You can see the 31 drivers that we have ahead of us today. You can see some names on there that you'll recognise from last time. Of course, the likes of Erhan Yovski, Gogo Baldi, 2 that maybe, and Jack Keithley as well, maybe should have qualified last time out. Didn't end up doing so. We had those 5 that we just said. Of course, some returning names. Moritz Lerner, defending champion. This is going to be quality.
Yes, indeed. This will be really exciting. And you can see the different car choices here. A lot of top drivers went for the BMW. Keithley, Lerner, Jajowski, and also Gago Baldi. And that BMW, we expect it to be strong at Zandvoort. Not so much at the Red Bull Ring. Then we've got the other drivers. Porsche, for example. Cihan, who was really fast here in practice. Kunze and Dorniden. Porsche, of course, won both races at the opening shootout in the hands of Kuba Brzezinski. Mercedes with the fastest driver in pre-qualifying, Nestor Garcia, and also Kevin Siggy and Tim Heinemann. 2 very big names on RaceRoom competitions. And then we've got a couple of Audis, and the standout name in the Audis definitely Florian Hasse, who was the champion in the first season of the ADAC GT Masters Esports Championship.
Yeah, good lad, Florian Hasse had some good racing with him over. Well, we only raced once, but it was good fun. You tell me I probably should have got a penalty for that, but it's fine. But no, the difference in driver quality, like there's very little separating these drivers. So car choice is so critical. It's interesting to see so many taking a big risk, but we did see the BMW come good a couple of weeks ago, particularly the Oschersleben race. It did come good quite late on, particularly that for Gogo Baldi. Through that race, and actually provided us with some intriguing action. Unfortunately, obviously, it came to an end with that incident at the exit of pit lane between himself and Erhan Yovski. Nestor Garcia, though, Red Bull Racing Esports driver at the Red Bull Ring, doing a pretty solid job with the top of the session.
Yeah, he was fastest in the leaderboard qualifying, not fastest though here in the practice session just before the event. That's the car we can see in the background there, Emre Cihan in the Porsche. Let's see if Nestor Garcia can finally make it. He was 5th in the first race at Oschersleben, but then had a very bad race at Autodrome Most last time in the shootout. So we will see if he manages to have a good event here.
Well, what's important, we discussed this at fair length as we head into qualifying, and everyone heads for that great race. We love it. Everyone just chaos at the exit of pit lane because they're so desperate for the very short 15-minute session to get out there. Obviously, track position is king in qualifying. But yeah, we were discussing this before. Like, surely, like based on last time, the picking the one car that works on one circuit, which a few people did with the BMW, only really working at Most. So they kind of take a bit of a hit at Oschersleben. The thing is, though, is that neither of the favoured car won at the circuit. Kuba Brzezinski won both races in the Porsche. So maybe that's not not the best option. You've got to pick a well-balanced car, which to me, I think the Merc's probably a nicely well-balanced car between two. I don't know what your thought and what your choice would be, Rob.
Yeah, the Mercedes is very good in qualifying, I would say. A bit weaker than the BMW in the race. That's probably the best all-round choice. Maybe the Porsche is a good all-round choice as well. The Audi and the BMW are certainly a little bit more specialized for one of the tracks, but we've seen Jack Keighley just at the end of the practice session jumping up to P2 in the BMW on Red Bull Ring, so we can never count him out.
Yeah, of course, Jack Keighley, one driver of major quality, was almost a confirmed qualifier last time out, but then decided it was a good idea to pick up a drive-through penalty and basically removed himself from contention. Scored the same points as P5, as Andre Santos, but then the countback system meant that he wasn't there to actually get through. So unfortunately, he got to try again. We ride on board with Nesta Garcia, heading up through T1 and then down towards Turn 2. This is going to be a really great overtaking opportunity, Rob.
Yes, certainly one of the tracks where you can pass the best on the whole calendar. See her running over the curb there, just to get a wider entry into the corner. A bit narrow. Also interesting to see the choices on traction control. Certainly some drivers running a bit more traction control there to get out of the corner nicely. Famous corner now. Hard braking zone once again. These corners are, especially on the exit where the BMW loses all the time, and now we come into BMW territory here, the faster corners.
You can see him really using this curve. The AMG seeming to work quite nicely over them. Just bouncing from apex to apex, heads through T5. We climb back up the hill towards two very deceptively tricky corners, both of them at extremely high speed. Of course, you've seen it across Motorsport, Formula 1, these cars, whatever. Like, a lot has raced around here and a lot has slammed their way over these curves. We know how tricky these are. Pit lane entry is going to be interesting in the race, that's for sure. Maybe a little bit too wide there for Nesta Garcia out the final corner. Going to come towards the line, and the first time on the board is going to be
28.8.
28.8.
Gian immediately jumps to provisional pole. 28.7. We are expecting the fastest times to be around 28.3 here. That was the fastest pre-qualifying time as well. Oh, and this Audi there in the background. Dennis DeMarco, who makes his debut. He almost went off the circuit there.
We see Mr. Kevin Siggy do a 28, was it 2? Like that. As you listen, goes across the line, goes up to pole position, solid lap, 0.6. Of course, this is at least it's the first time that I've seen Mr. Siggy. You can see it there below his name, a McLaren Shadow driver. Of course, won the McLaren Shadow project, which took over sim racing a little bit a few months ago. Had to qualify twice for it, did Mr. Siggy. Not something he's accustomed to, but alas, he got into it and won it, and now drives for that team.
Yeah, he's also one of the drivers with the most titles on RaceRoom. He's won the Mercedes AMG e-racing competition in 2018, and last year he won Super Racer online competition, and he was also part of the Super Racer bootcamp where he dominated in the simulator. Lots of strong drivers were there, like Heinemann, like Löhner, and Siggy. He won each session. So, very impressive. Expect to see a lot of good things from him here, but his first lap didn't count. Maybe he cut the track a little bit.
Yeah, Siggy's always won. Like, I mean, he's been good for a while. That's for sure. Maurice Lerner, defending champion, comes out of the final corner and comes towards the line. Currently P5 goes to P1 at 28.5 without a purple sector on the first two. Or green. That's a good lap there. Yeah, Kevin Siggy is one of those drivers who's just quick no matter what. Jack Keighley only good enough for 10th at the moment, second in that practice session prior to this. Now drops down to 11th position. So at the moment, we do have a BMW on top, but it's Keighley is a little bit further off his teammate than he'd want to be.
Page is second, that's a surprise, and Siggy in third now. Also jumped Jillison. Konrad Zarebek here, one of the debutants. At least for this season, he was part of the first season. E21 at the moment, and Florian Hasse hasn't managed to set a lap time yet in the Audi.
Decent first sector though. Given a little bit of a slipstream to some of the cars behind, although they're coming out pit lane, I'm assuming that's why the darting all over the circuit. Not sure which one it is. I think that's Moritz Lerner's car, or Gassner. It's one of the two. Hasse though down the hill. Of course, a lot of experience. One of the most experienced in these GT cars in in RaceRoom, so he knows how to balance one across a circuit. He's done plenty of laps, shall we say. Of course, one of the RaceRoom sort of specialists in the sense, like you don't really see him outside of RaceRoom. This is where he finds himself acclimatized, unlike other drivers, and does a very, very good job of it. Of course, Championship to his name. Finally got some race victories to his name as well across 2019.
Oh, I think that's a cut again.
He's pushing it either way, like he just pushed it too hard over that curb. Spat him out anyway. Not the best start to the session. And the start of the session in this, Adam Pinches, Williams Gym Esports, so one of their 5 drivers, Williams Esports, at the moment, in this championship anyway, of course. 2 of them have already qualified, so they're looking at a pretty strong team at the moment at Williams.
Strong team, but not the only team, of course, here on the grid. Not the only big name. Tim Heinemann is another one. Races in the real ADAC GT4 Germany Championship in real cars, made the jump from sim racing to real racing. Now he's back for this championship.
Yeah, you can see their race results and stuff. He's won a lot, not only in real life, but of course in sim racing. Has been winning for a very long time. At least the first time I came across him was 6 years ago. Taking championships and stuff back then, of course, has showed no signs of slowing down. Has built many rivalries over his last few years of his tenure in sim racing. Eamon Murphy, that is a great shout. P4 at the moment. Did a very good job.
Prater was purple as well in the first sector and then has to abandon his lap. I think we will see a lot of cars going purple in the beginning of the lap because of the BMW being a little bit slow in the second corner especially. But here Lerner, if he can keep the pole position in the BMW, that's gonna be worth so much. That's gonna be an amazing result.
Especially considering how good that car is in the long run. Whoa! Nice little crash there. Payet, though, you were saying like that Porsche being up in P2 at the moment. I think that might be the one he had contact with, to be honest. But Payet doing a great job in second position. Now the thing is that Porsche, it is very, very good on the starts. We saw that last time in the 2 races that we had. That Porsche is extremely good on the start. So Emery Chihan here looking to move his way up the order, currently in 6th position, and we know that this Porsche is good across a variety of circuits, not just 1 or 2. So we could see this car too hard at the final. We could see him moving his way up the order. I see Kevin Siggy did get a lap on the board and is 3rd at the moment. Didn't quite noticed that earlier. Sorry.
And look at 4 different cars in the top 4.
Very nice. Was that Gillison moving up to 5th position that I just saw? Or was he already there?
I think it was Dorniden moving up to 7th.
Oh, it was Dorniden 7th. Yeah, Dorniden 7th. That's right. Yeah.
Dorniden struggled a lot in the first shootout in the BMW. Now he is taking the Porsche, a car that suits him a lot more. The FA Racing Esports team. Actually 3 F1 teams here. And the Fernando Alonso team. FA Racing Esports, of course, the Fernando Alonso team. And we've got Williams with a lot of cars. Red Bull with Nestor Garcia. And McLaren with Kevin Siggy.
Yeah, esports is really, really moving its way forward as it gets bigger. Finally, Jack Keithley gets a time on the board, and oddly enough, makes it a BMW front row here at the Red Bull Ring. Not something we would have called prior to this, Rob.
No, certainly not. That's the big surprise. That puts them in prime position for the race in Zandvoort as well, because the BMW is certainly strong there. And you can see it's maybe not even the car. Look where Baldi is, P15, Kampert P10. Jajowski only P22.
Wow. Of course, Jajowski was one who we really suspected would qualify last time out. AAA Esports teammate to Risto Capek, currently up in 10th position. Of course, a driver, particularly if you've been around in sim racing for at least the last couple of years, is a name that you might well recognise. Has been very much a part of sim racing. Did the World's Fastest Gamer, also was the qualifier from up in Manchester. He actually was one that challenged Kevin Siggy in the McLaren Shadow Project when that was on, because he qualified for that as well. Obviously got beat by Kevin Siggy in that. So a driver with varying talents in sim racing. Payet currently up on a time to maybe move himself up towards pole position, but he did say that people would be looking pretty quick in that first sector in comparison to BMW.
It's a huge surprise to me that Page is the fastest Porsche here. Okay, Kunze now up to P5, getting pretty close, but we were definitely expecting Kunze, Cihan and Alexander Dorny to be a little bit further ahead here.
But like we said, this was the track that you could maybe make some moves if you were willing to. Yeah, if you were being a bit aggressive, this is the one you can sort of make things happen. I see Janiowski moving himself up to the 5th position. We'll see what Page does as he crosses the line, stays 3rd. Also see the gap
Capet
between...
3rd.
Oh yeah, Capet slots that tiny gap between Page and Keithley.
Capet only got into the race as a reserve driver because some of them ahead of him didn't register. Now Dornin spins off here, starting only P12, because I don't think he will get another lap in.
He might do. It's tight. I think he may well just about do it. It'll be very, very tight though. He'll be very frustrated if he's purple in the first 2 sections and comes around the final corner to see the sessions moved over. DeMarco coming through the final corner, P21 presently. Audi, a car which should be good here. Decent first sector, not so great in the second sector, but should be able to move himself up towards the top 10. There you go, 5th place.
Wow.
Fantastic time.
Just shows the potential of the Audi and just shows that, you know, that Hasse and Murphy also are not really performing up to the level here. I think we lost Murphy from the server actually. Only 30 cars left. That's a shame for him. Cihan on the purple sector.
Yeah, it's a shame for Murphy because he was doing a very good job in qualifying. Emery Cihan looking to somehow displace the top 3, which has somehow become BMWs around the not BMW favoured circuit. Currently in 10th position, and those 2 corners to go. Very aggressive on the curbs is Emery Cihan. You can get away with it in qualifying. Doing it consistently in the race might be a little bit of a tall order. Really wrestling it. That's a pretty nice final couple of corners. Is it good enough for pole position? Is he going to break the BMW threshold at the top? He is going to break it, but how close is that? How close? 16 thousandths of a second, 17 thousandths of a second. Not good enough for pole position. And
top 9 and 1/10.
Yeah, it's so close, especially with the spread of cars. That's incredible. Oh, we've got some good racing here, Rob.
Yeah. Baldi at P12, only 5th fastest BMW. That's bad news for him. Purple in the first sector though. Let's see the second sector time. Let's also check briefly with Konrad Zerebiak where he is. He was slower in the next sector. Capet on purple sector, Dorniden, Högfeld. Oh, and Siggy goes pole.
Kevin Siggy. He does break that BMW threshold and breaks it by 1/10 of a second nearly. That is a fantastic time for the McLaren Shadow Project driver. That is going to take some beating. Look back to Gogo Baldi. Second sector, not so great.
Oh, it was really slow actually. So let's go with Zerebiak, but he goes into the pits. Oh,
wow.
Capet also in the pits. Is Dorniden gonna cross the line before the session ends?
How's the second sector? Not so hot. Decent first one. Not so hot second. And cutting it fine with time. He's got 20 seconds, just under, to get round. He should be able to do it. Of course, we've got the timesheets there. You can see Kevin Siggy. We'll keep you up to date to see if he actually completes the time. I think, yeah, he's got time to do it. So where is he going to move? Currently in 13th position, moves to only 11th. Wow. Kevin Siggy, though, pole position from 2 BMWs. That Porsche of Emery Cihan, though, could be very, very, very spicy on the start.
Yeah, certainly good position for Emery Cihan, who we have on our screen here. Once again, the schedule for today, Red Bull Ring first and then Circuit Zandvoort. So 2 races. Don't turn off when the first race is over. And of course, we've got the mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, like you say, 40-minute race. We've got a mandatory pit stop in that middle third of the race where people have to come down pit road and change at least 2 tyres. And that's where things get very interesting. I think most people changed 4 the last time. Oh no, it was just 2. It was the rear, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just 2
last time. That's what I meant.
Red Bull Ring certainly 2 tire change faster. Zandvoort not sure. Zandvoort very hard on the tires.
Ooh, who is going to win this race? Who is going to be our qualifiers? Of course, the 5 to join, those 5 that have already qualified. Our second qualifier is about to get underway as they're already on the grid. Kevin Siggy, McLaren Shadow on pole position ahead of the 2 Williams Esports drivers. We're underway at Spielberg and up the hill. It's a great launch from Kevin Siggy, who's going to have a clear run up towards turn 1. You can see some of the Porsches battling in the background. Wow, that is going to be tight at T1. My goodness me, that's Gillison moving his way. Oh, no, it's not. So it's Emery Cheehan getting by Jack Keithley. That was Gillison making some progress down the back end of the pack. I think he might have just dropped back a bit. But that's a good start from Emery Cheehan, jumping one of the Williams Esports driver. Jack Keithley, though, trying to get back down the inside at T2. And his teammate! Oh, McLaren, eat your heart out. That's that done. I'm sure Jack Keithley's not going to be the most popular in that outfit at the moment. Throwing away a confirmed qualifying position last time out, and now potentially throwing maybe 2 out after such a strong qualifying. That's absolute madness. We've got some side-by-side action here. Dennis DeMarco, Florian Haas, and Gillison all going side-by-side towards the end of the pack. I think they've just settled themselves out. We look back in the pack to see Moritz Lerner in 29th place. Too aggressive again from Jack Keithley. He's desperately trying to battle his way back up the order, currently in 10th position. Trading paint with Axel. Wow, that's a big crash. I don't even know who's involved with that. Hogfeld is definitely. That's what we can see. That's, I think, Moritz Lerner trying to get his way back through.
Ronovic involved. Gassner involved. Huge crash there in the background. Tim Heinemann somehow up to P11, right behind Jack Keithley.
Whoa! See,
oh!
Just a massive oversteer there, I think.
Wow, this nice place to slot back in, and Kevin Siggy kind of gapped the field already.
Not the best first lap for the qualifiers field for most of them. Kevin Siggy out in front with a clear run. You can see in the background, Gergo Baudi's moved himself up into 6th position. That's pretty credible. The highest placed BMW now being that of Risto Capit in 3rd position. That one third car really in shot. As down the inside, Gillison nearly making contact there with DeMarco, now getting under attack from Gergo Baudi, who's probably going to get by Florian Haasser as well, with a great drive out of T2, and I think he's going to be done. So that mistake from Gillison dropping him 2 positions, down to 7th, and now into the clutch with Julian Kunze. Oh my goodness me, Jack Keithley under attack from literally the entire field. Alexander Vermont, AAA Esports, trying to get around his outside. You can see Alex Dornan and Pajic as well, who's not had the best start to the race. Hanijovski is now in the barrier at T3.
Looked like he spun on his own, and Romor actually going past Keithley here. Forceful move.
Yeah, AAA Esports, of course, 3rd position for Risto Cap at the moment, and yeah, with their hand in the wall, it's nice to see him moving up the field for AAA. They'll be happy with that at the moment. With their latest signing, Isaac Gillison. This has been absolute chaos, Rob.
Bit of a high ping for Gillison here. So watch out that he can stay on the server. Close in the background as well.
Kevin Siggy's pulled out a second and a bit on the field. Not really too much we need to worry about with this man. We know what he's like when he gets out front, and especially in a car as well balanced to each circuit. Oh, you'd be hard pressed to think that Emery Cheehan and Risto Kappa could catch up. We look at Gergo Baudi trying to make further progress. We said this BMW's very good in the race, and it seems to be proving that as he's putting DeMarco under pressure. Going to go around the outside of T2, going to go for a cutback and maybe try and force his way down the inside at 3. It's a pretty decent drive, a bad drive off the corner from Florian Haasser directly behind, of course, our first series champion. And then back down the hill. Not quite close enough. The straight line speed of that BMW just not quite strong enough.
What a performance by Dennis DeMarco. No one expected him to be that fast here, but running in P4 at the moment, that's truly impressive. Ahead of Baldi, Hasse, Kunze, Keithley, all these drivers. What a superb performance from the Italian.
Yeah, doing a truly outstanding job at the moment. But of course, you need to get through the next 35 and a bit minutes. And with a driver with as much experience as Gergo Baudi in your rear view mirror, that's pretty hard. Of course, Cooper Sim Racing Series 2019 champion. Nope, that was Dornan. Never mind, it's WTCR 29 that I'm thinking of. It's all good. won a championship last year. That's what I meant.
Always been kind of an unlucky driver on RaceRoom, I would say. Baldi been in contention for a lot of championships, and even when he won the online title last year, he then didn't win at the final event in Malaysia.
Yeah, of course. There are a lot of drivers who could make this their year, Kuba Brzezinski being one of them, of course, a victor of both races last time out, showing how strong Williams Esports are. Jack Keithley looked pretty strong at the start of that event, but then has appeared to fall back into old habits. Not only in the second race, but obviously the first race thus far here. Nesta Garcia, a bit of contact, our fastest qualifier, only in 18th position. Curious as to what's happened to his qualifying session.
This is a really interesting order here in the race. We didn't expect it to be like this. So Derek here fighting against Pinches for the last place in the points.
Of course, when it's so very tight in qualifying, every sort of tenth you give away at a corner by just slightly running too far wide is absolutely crucial. I mean, you said about it earlier in the session, the top 9 were separated by only a tenth of a session before Kevin Siggy put on the pole time. 1/10 of a second could be anywhere. You think of how small a margin that is. It's taking maybe an extra K or 2 into a corner, and then a little bit there and a little bit there. It's really not much, but it all adds up. Still pulling away. I mean, I think the gap's kind of stabilised around 1.5 to 2 seconds. Emery Chuhan's doing a good job to keep himself at a steady distance to Risto Capet, who seems to be struggling to close in that BMW. But that said, I would say Risto Capet is going to be pretty happy with third position. I know that Risto Capet is pretty good at Zandvoort as well, and taking the favoured car there. From this position, he's going to be pretty comfortable, I'd say, for a potential qualifying position, as long as he gets his qualifying done there. Look at this battle pack that's getting bigger and bigger. Florian Haas's really close to the back. Go Bowdy going down the inside. There's going to be contact, I think, to Marco. Just trying to pinch him down to the inside, but he runs far too far out wide. Now he's going to have to cover off Florian Haase. Go Bowdy up to P4. Dennis DeMarco having to defend all over the place from the Audi driver directly behind. He's going to dive down the inside at T4. That's so close. So risky from Florian Haase. We normally a well-balanced driver sometimes shows a little bit of aggression, but that could have been tears for quite a few of these. But Dennis DeMarco hangs on to 5th at the moment. But you get the feeling he might be the cork in the bottle. Down the no, not quite. Keeps looking.
Seems to close the door quite late, so that's why there was contact with Baldi. He was already committed for the inside. Now once again, just going for these late apexes. Of course, the Audi, you have to drive it differently to the BMW, so you have to take different lines in the corners. You can see DeMarco, he's certainly struggling here on the race pace. There's a big battle pack. Oh!
Who was that?
Ramon. That's Ramon, he's around!
Who was that he made contact with?
I think it was Gillison.
I think it was Gillison, yeah. Both of that. Oh! There's contact with one of the BMWs. That one might have been...
might have been Syriza.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. It's one of the white ones anyway. We look at Jack Keithley, who's gaining positions courtesy of other people's mistakes after dropping some through his own.
Look at Dorniden. Around the outside of both of them.
Very nice. Fernando Alonso Racing Team doing a solid job. That's where Gillison's appeared, a bit further down the pack than he'd want. Soroka getting by. Woof, that's aggressive on the brakes. Now down the inside, getting the cut back, but there was a Porsche in your way there. Still manages to get it done. Very, very nice. Julian Kutz is now passed by Jack Keithley, who's going to set his sights on trying to get back by Alex Dorniden.
What we can already certainly say is that in this race there will be some penalties after the race. The results will be provisional. Heinemann good recovery into 11th. Trying around the outside of, I think that's the Rebiec.
Yeah, I think Jack Keithley's got a bit to answer for. He's down the inside. There's almost kind of there was a little bit of a rub between the two, but Zerebiak manages to hang on to 10th place just behind them. Ericsson as well, trying to get involved in the Porsche. Not able to do so. Oh, but he gets pushed off by Tim Heinemann there. Might have just been that angle, but I think he picked the wrong side up towards T1, did Jesper Ericsson.
Yeah, so far so good, I would say. Heinemann looking a bit faster than
Zverev. It's been a very, very good recovery from Tim Heinemann. Considering that spin earlier, that odd spin, I don't actually know what happened there. We don't normally see a mistake out of Tim Heinemann. Normally his car's glued to the road. Now
Ericsson behind him. Also quite an aggressive driver. Oh, look at the
Whoa.
Mercedes there.
Who was that? That was Pinches.
That was Pinches.
Whoa, that's contact Who's that round?
That's Kunze around. That's another one of the favorites dropping out here. As the pit window opens.
Oh my goodness me. This is absolutely bonkers.
I don't think that was contact. It didn't look like it.
No, it's kind of hard to tell. Of course, we don't have a replay because we can't actually show you what has happened. But the stewarding committee after this round might be quite a busy group. There's contact there between Heinemann and Zverev. Well,
Pinches goes around.
It's an interesting pit lane entry. Oh, there's another one off as well. I wonder if that's him trying to make a pit lane entry and making contact with someone, because it's an awkward pit lane entry. But to be honest, it's dangerous, is what it is. But
yeah.
What can you do?
Dornin and Keithley are in the pits. Other drivers staying out.
I think it's well known. Not to slate the circuit too much, because it's a very fun circuit. But the pit lane entry here is probably one of the worst in motorsport. It's so ridiculous. Thus causing more incidents. There's Gogo Bowdy getting passed again by DeMarco. That's a solid move. Florian Haase now trying to get involved. A little bit of a rub. Quarter panel to quarter panel. That was a very, very tidy move there from DeMarco. Showing his lack of experience down the inside. Oh yeah, you see Nesta
Oh, he's tagged him there. That was certainly contact.
I only really saw out of the corner of my eye. Florian Haase is now down the inside, but who do you... is that a racing incident, or is Gogo Bowdy going to need to take a look into?
I think that's one for the stewards for sure.
Certainly, that is.
Know where to look in this race. Ericsson goes past Gillison, who still has some ping issues there.
Highest of your pitters so far, Alex Dornadin. A little bit further down the order, but has made his pit stop. So that is him ticked off the list. Currently ahead of Pajic, who's not made his pit stop yet. A couple of positions back, which is a shame that his race has gone so far down the pan, considering a fairly decent qualifying. Florian Haase has passed Gogo Bowdy, courtesy of a pit stop to Bowdy's part, and I think DeMarco was in as well.
Yeah, I think Pajic actually was in the pits, but outside of the pit window.
Oh, that's a Ricky move. Unless he had damage, of course.
Yeah, that's certainly possible in this hectic race. Can't see all of the incidents here. Let's see where Baldi is. It's moving again. I think he should be ahead of Dornin.
But Dornin's going to have the momentum off the corner. I don't think he's going to be close enough coming up towards TT, but definitely within contention to make a pass pretty sharpish is Alex Dornin. This one, I believe, would be for about a net sort of 4th or 5th through this race. Very heavy on the brakes. That Porsche is good on the brakes at the moment. It looks tidy anyway. He seems to have matched better to this Porsche than the M6 he had last time, as Alex Dornadin. And of course, when it's a fixed setup and the margins are so small, Moritz Lerner out of the race. Oh my goodness. I think Jack Keithley not only would have a lot to answer for to the stewards, but potentially to his teammate as well. To be fair, I'm pretty sure that's already been communicated. It's so easy to do. T2 is extremely tight, so I won't be too harsh on Keithley on that one, because it is a very, very tight corner, and if you're trying to make a move, it's so unbelievably easy to overshoot. And unfortunately, when you do so, and you're a little bit down in the pack, that's another car you're going to hit, I'm afraid.
Not a lot of drivers have stayed out of trouble here.
No.
I would say the top 4 have.
Florian's done a good job to work his way up the order without any major issue. The top 3 haven't been seen by anyone since T2, other than themselves. They've been comfortable enough at the head, and I think currently Kevin Siggy's control of this race is dragged it out to 2 and a bit. It's now around sort of like 2.5 seconds. He's really putting in the lap times at the moment.
Well, Kunze disconnected.
Oh,
Was
that's
one of
a
the
shame.
guys who's missing here. Only 28 drivers left. After 31 were there at the start of the race. Murphy, of course, dropped out very early on. See it, Trevanak. Well, Kevin Siggy, as he goes by now, stays out on the road. Yes, he does. I'll go for quite a long first stint here. Usually we see the drivers pitting very early.
The thing is with Siggy, I think, like, with coming into the pits here, say, for example, if I was, in the case of Chihan, or if I was, who's the car ahead of Riddinger right now? It's Vega. Carol Vega. Very nice. Hold on. Currently running in a good position. But if I was Carol Vega, same as if I'm Emery Chihan, I'm kind of careful with when I want to come into the pits, because I can't come in until this guy behind me's come in, because I don't want to come in, brake on the race line, and get punted.
Yeah, I think that is what happened to Chihan.
Yeah.
Pinches, I'm sorry.
Pinches, yeah, that's what I think happened to Pinches as well. Was he was committed to coming down pit lane, but because there was a car behind him, Hogfeld moving up towards 8th position, I believe. Tot, the guy he's trying to pass, he spins on the apex. Another one round. Decent recovery, straight back onto the circuit. Going to get passed by a couple of cars, but I think that might be the only positions he's going to lose in this scenario. That's Carol Vega and Leon Riddinger going by. Oh, it's Carol Vega anyway going by. Not sure about Riddinger yet. Oh, very late on the brakes. That could be a very nice move. Oh, there's contact between himself and Vega. That outside line's not really the best one to have. The drive's not great out there off the racing line. If you can hold it around there, it gives you the inside for this section, which is where you definitely want to be.
What a nice car control from Vega there.
Yeah,
big tap. Still held it on the road and kept the position.
Of course, I believe I'm going out and saying this out on a limb. I don't know how old the other drivers are, but oldest driver on the grid. Riddinger down the inside now. That's Carol Vega who's the oldest, not Riddinger. But doing a very good job against the young boys. Woof, late commitment to pit lane.
And we've just briefly seen it. Garcia got a drive-through penalty in the pit lane. Same thing that happened to Keithley in the last shootout. So bad news for the Red Bull Racing Esports driver.
Yeah, could this be, I think you said at the start of the broadcast, he was 5th in the first of the qualifiers. That's Zarabiak with, who is that? With
it's DeMarco.
DeMarco, yeah. From that contact, he's dropped down, hasn't he?
And we've seen DeMarco once again closing the door when Zarabiak is already on the inside. Not sure if that was the case when DeMarco was spun by Baldi, but the way he's driving here, it certainly looks like it, that he's just not leaving enough room to the cars on the inside.
He is very aggressive with the chippy chop, as I call it. It's not a move that I'm particularly happy with as a driver. When someone does it to me, that's where the dangerous team radio that can't ever be aired normally happens. Top of your run. Oh no, secondary runners rather. Well, this is top 3 anyway. That's ahead of Alex Dornadon is. Sorry, I don't know why I'm reading this wrong. It's Gergo Bowdy. I was like reading it, thinking of Ahan Yovsky. Never mind. Gergo Bowdy is the top of those 3. Then it's Alex Dornadon and Jack Keithley. These, I assume, are running in about 4th or 5th position. I think it's 5th in total, because I think Florian Hassel will be ahead of these 3.
That's interesting. They are the first cars out on track that have already pitted.
Strategy does play a key part. We saw some drivers getting involved a bit later in the race, courtesy of some interesting strategic plays. It is only 2 tyres, but I love a good mandatory pit stop, because if you have a window for a mandatory pit stop, you just kind of get a bit more spice, I feel, in a race. Like, we've seen it before when it's been applied to some championships. It may not work in all cases. Well, no, sorry. It doesn't work in all cases, because it sometimes just puts everyone on the same strategy and it's a little bit dull. Whereas in this, with how the tyre wear works, we've got some very interesting races. Carol Vega getting passed, potentially, here by Tot down the inside. No spin for Tot this time. That should be a decent move. Very tidy. That's what we like to see, right?
Yeah, nice move there from David Top. Dornadon also tried a move against Gergo Baldi, but it didn't quite work out.
thing is, do you want to be fighting with him? I know that sounds like a really stupid point. Like, do you want to? Of course you do. It's a qualifier. You need to. But I'm thinking more of like the bigger picture here. Like in the terms of the race, maybe sort of sitting behind him. The BMW, we know it's not a great car in a straight line. You're in a Porsche. You probably have the potential to get by. Maybe just sort of like leave Gerger, who's perfectly comfortable setting decent lap times, just a little bit alone, so we can set those decent lap times. Maybe drag you up to the likes of Florian Haase, Risto Capet, Henry Chihan.
That has never been really Don Eden's strategy. No, he's famous for going for the moves because he does not want to get under pressure by Jack Keighley here. So earlier he can get past Garibaldi, the happier he will be. I think it might happen at the end of the straight.
Yeah, potentially. We'll see if he can mount a challenge into T2. We know Dornaden's pretty aggressive on the brakes, and with those moves, he's going to have to go to the right or the left. He's going to have to go to the left and try and make it stick around the outside. Very heavy on the brakes over the curbs. Going to try and hang it around the outside. Has he got an overlap? He has got an overlap, and that is a great move, potentially down towards turn 3. I think he may have the drive of the corner to do it, and there he is ahead without really losing that much time. That was a fantastic move from Alex Dornaden. Now defends the inside for T3 and holds what is currently 10th position. That was brilliant. Clean, sophisticated, nice move.
Chihan into the pits, and yes indeed, Alexander Dorn once again top overtake against the BMWs, who tend to be a bit faster on worn tires, but in a racing situation, in the places where you can pass, hard braking and so on, this is where the Porsche excels.
That's why you can, it's one of my favourite moves when I've raced it before, is to go around the outside of T2. You know, some people say that you can't do it, and others shouldn't be penalised for pushing someone off for doing it, but regardless, it's definitely a move that you can do, provided you're with a friendly car who's going to give you the space. As Garibaldi was in that scenario, it was a very nice move. Could it be the move of the race day? Henry Chihan coming out of pit lane. And where is he in comparison? Is he quite far ahead? He is a little bit far ahead, yeah.
Been good for Chihan, yeah.
It
was fresher tires, even though it's probably only the rear tires that are fresh for him. Marco also in the pits. Marco lost a lot of time. Almost at the end of the field, changed all 4 tires, I think.
Yeah, he obviously he had that contact earlier, but yeah, even further dropping down the field. Wrong strategy call for Dennis DeMarco. Now going to be passed by one more, that being Alexander Vermont. AAA Esports not having a good race here.
Could be Mironovic actually, who's a lap down.
Oh, it could be. Oh yeah, that would make more sense. Yeah, that would make more sense.
Ziggy's in the pits.
Oof, race leader Risto Capet now takes over at the top.
We've seen this every time that Risto Capet takes the lead of the race eventually.
Yeah.
This time in a much better position though than in all the other shootouts.
Risto's a good driver. The 2 circuits for him today, I have seen him do very, very impressive things on over the course of his sim racing career. Emery Chihan, in comparison to Kevin Siggy, is still going to come out a fair ways behind, but he's going to stay comfortably ahead of pretty much everyone else. Siggy, I think he's already out of the pit lane and already cleared off into the distance. You can't see a yellow Mercedes in the foreground of that. There he is, Kevin Siggy. What a drive it is. Potentially that to rival the likes of Kuba Brzezinski's previous 2. Alexander Dornaden now staring in his rearview mirror, trying to keep at bay the 2 hungry BMWs behind, which they are going to have a hard time to pass this Porsche at any point really on this circuit.
And when we look at the drivers still out on track, Hasse and Heinemann should both be very comfortably in the top 10 when they come out of the pits. Covered as well, of course. I think the strategy might have played out for Florian Hasse.
I think so. I think he's got himself into some clean air, set some decent lap times.
Capet is in.
Kept his eye on Capet. There we go. So Florian Hasse is going to take the lead of the race and take over proceedings. Where's Risto Capet going to come out in comparison? You'd assume just slightly behind Emery Chihan, because it looked like a pretty decent stop from Emery Chihan, but you never know. That's the battle for second, though. Tim Heinemann also in the pit lane.
Heinemann changing fronts, Capet changing rears.
I don't know which I'd change around here. Like, obviously, rears you change if you're on a high traction zone circuit, and this has a few fairly high traction zones, but I think I'd prefer some fronts. That said, I've not really done that many laps in these cars, so I wouldn't know.
Jihan ahead of Coppet. Coppet ahead of Dorniden. Heinemann coming. Oh, did Heinemann clip the barrier there? Kinda looked like it. P8 for Heinemann, that's good.
Oof. Jack Keithley. Oh, now getting pushed onto the outside by Gogo Bowdy. These three are three very, very well-experienced drivers on RaceRoom. Dorniden, Bowdy and Keithley. How many times have we called them over the line as a race victor? Three of the most experienced at winning. And
maybe we can just take a look a little bit further down the order here. Who's also scoring points at the moment. But Gillison in P9, still with the ping issues a little bit. Must be very frustrating for the drivers around him. Ericsson in P10, good performance once again by the young Swede. Then Moreno Sevica, Williams Gym Esports. On his first showing on RaceRoom, Christopher Högfeldt in P12. Ahead of Konrad Zereviak. Adam Pinchus after his incident, and then Leon Rüdinger rounding out the point scorers at the moment as Hasse is in the pits. And I think now we have to watch from Dorniden. Where does Hasse come out?
Into which gap is Florian Hasse going to settle into? He's behind. Was that him coming out of the pit lane there? It was. He is always right in the middle of this pack, but I think he may drop to the back of it. He's just coming behind Gogo Bowdy. It's not worked out really staying out because I think he was already ahead. Realistically prior to that pit stop, but he should have some better tyres. Jack Keithley trying to go down the inside where there was not a gap. Good effort though. 6 out of 10.
Keithley lost a lot of time.
He did. Both of them did, to be fair. Didn't come into this as a particularly high qualifier, did Florian Hasse, but looking pretty strong in the race. Whether this Audi will be anything to speak about come Zandvoort is a very, very different question. I think
just
now
see how fast the BMW can enter into the corner compared to the Audi. Audi has to get all the time on the exit.
But like to defend a position, that's actually kind of what you want. You want a car that's really good on exit, because if you're building a good exit, then it's very hard for anyone, despite how good they are on the entrance point, to actually get on the inside, because you've already built a comfortable gap to them on the straight because of your exit. Not like that.
Pressure here.
Not like that. That was not so great. Jack Keith is the kind of guy who will go for a move down the inside of T1 at Austria. He's looking. He's heavy on the brakes. There's nearly contact between the two. See you, Florian. Don't know how anyone will feel about that. That was an interesting way to hold a corner. Surprised to see Florian in a Audi after what happened to him in Nürburgring a couple of years ago.
Big slide there out of the hairpin, and surprised that he didn't get a slowdown penalty there. Slowdown's a little bit lenient at times. Keithley won't be happy with that.
No, it wasn't the best thing to see, let's say that. But he's held the position nonetheless, P6 present, and of course in this every point does matter. Jesper Eriksson trying to get down the inside and move his way into P9. Gillison directly ahead. Soroka directly behind down the inside into T5. That is an aggressive and bold move and a fantastic one that may pay off, and it has done. Oh, there we go down the inside. Soroka going to make contact just a little bit. Now he's going to go straight on at T5. Oh, not so great there for the Williams Gym Esports.
Högfeldt also got the position. Gillison trying to come back at Jesper Eriksson here, but to no avail so far. Dennis DeMarco, by the way, is charging back through the field. But the fastest car on the track at the moment with 4 fresh tires. Going up the inside of Karel Vega, bit of contact there. Oof.
Someone's died
also through. That's Todd again.
I wonder with DeMarco, this time I don't think he's going to qualify, right? I think that's pretty obvious. That's a really stupid statement, actually, because he's in P20 and not really scoring anything. But he could take from this. Is he going to get passed by Yayovsky? It's just down the inside, but not really.
Naughty as well. I think Yayovsky had an overlap there.
I think that DeMarco could be a good shout for a qualifying position over the next two. And then, down the inside, there's more contact, more pushing over the apex curve, though. Does need to learn from that, because that isn't really going to pay off in any scenario. Yayovsky is now comfortably ahead, coming down towards T3. A bold move from him, but I think he's getting a bit impatient behind the Italian, trying to hang it around the outside. Not good enough. Now directly behind Carol Vega trying to get by. He maybe one of the older drivers is Carol Vega, but not the most experienced, that's for sure. Doesn't have so much experience, at least not on RaceRoom. Does a very good job when we see him appear in some of these higher splits there. Comrade Zarabiak. Currently battling with Adam. Is it Adam Pinches? No, it's not.
Pinches is behind, I think. Syriza and Zarabiak were just on the screen.
Yeah, it is. Seriously, yeah, you're right. I was looking at the wrong place in my timing sheet. This man, though, he's absolutely run away. 4.5 seconds clear of Emery Chihan, who, to be fair, Emery Chihan's putting in a very good effort here in that Porsche. Has done a superb job, as has Risto Capet. Of course, those top 5, remembering that the top 5 are those that qualify. Very, very important to keep that in your head. Of course, points scored between the two races, it's whatever builds up for that. Once the night ends, it's definitely going to be a provisional top 5, that's for sure, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot that needs to be looked at. Siggy, Emery, Chihan, Risto Capet, Alexander Dornadon and Gergo Bowdy, the top 5 at present. All doing fairly decent jobs. Of course, a few outside of that area that we maybe have expected to be in there, the likes of Florian Haase, Jack Keithley, realistically even Tim Heinemann, retirements from the likes of Florian Haase as well, who potentially would have expected to be towards that top area. Nevertheless, at the moment, that's not where they are. This is Jack Keithley on Florian Haase. Euronics Gaming versus Williams Esports, two teams that have definitely been going head-to-head for a fair while. They in the live event at the Bodensee, these were the two big teams battling over that championship. In fact, between one of the Williams Esports teams and one of the Euronics Gaming teams, they were exactly level on points going into the final. So a team with history in battling in competition in RaceRoom. There's Zureka staring at the back now as he's been passed by Zarabiak. So that move has happened just behind. You can see Adam Pinches and Leon Rudiger rounding out that top 15. Are they going to be able to make progress and close in, maybe gain a few more points on this? It's going to be hard over the next 7 minutes. As much as it is a circuit you can overtake on, it's not one that's the easiest to do so across the different cars. That's what really throws it off at times. If you're in a car that's not got the best straight line speed, there is Liam Rudiger. That Porsche not quite powerful enough to get by the AMG at present.
I think we've seen, especially with the BMW, that while the car is probably the fastest in RaceRoom, excluding Siggy, I guess. Siggy kind of a little bit ahead of the other drivers here, seems like. But even though the BMW gains a lot, like when the tires get worn and so on, it's really difficult to overtake other cars. We've seen the passes in the Porsche. We've seen Alex Dorneden, for example, getting past Garibaldi. And I think Dorneden is catching up to Capet.
I think he is as well. That Porsche coming in. Of course, Risto Capet. I would have I'm a bit surprised that he's not a bit stronger now, because obviously he pitted later than pretty much anyone else. The only one who didn't pit before him was Florian Haase. He pitted a lap after, well, lap or two after anyway. So that's interesting. Whoa! Zureka getting passed by Zarabiak, massively wide there at T2, just picking it up on the curb. And there's Jesper Eriksson having to accept defeat when it comes to a move. Woof! That's very close. Juleson getting by. Currently a bit of lag there. Still out of Juleson's car.
Oh, and I think Heinemann is off.
He is. Is he pulling off? He's pulling off. He's done.
Not fuel again.
Fuel with 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Is it that?
Kind of a reoccurring problem for Tim. Just the fuel
not...
calculations.
Yeah, we best not talk about fuel calculations in me. I'm apparently I'm apparently a bit bad at it. I've got a reputation. Let's say that when it comes to fuel calculations. Well, that's a freebie for a few of these drivers, including Jesper Eriksson, now looking at 8th position rather than 9th. See if he can get by and move himself up into some more tasty points. Of course, points being split across the top 15. And 25 points to that victor. Leon Rodiger now in the 14th position. Who got promoted to the final points paying? It's Richard Schaefer. Not said anything about him all afternoon. Leon Rodiger going to go around the outside of T2. Is he going to be able to muscle his way around the outside of the Mercedes? He certainly is. That was a very fair track sort of like leaving for Adam Pinches. Oh, it's a bit tighter there. I think he's going to struggle though, is Leon, to get around the outside of T3. He's definitely going to give it a go. That AMG on the inside, just getting that curve nicely and getting, or holding rather, that position out of T3. Zbigniew Sciarra directly behind this. Richard Shaver, of course, a driver that you'll know from quite a bit of RaceRoom experience, particularly that of the Nordschleife, very, very strong on that. The guy directly behind, Zbigniew Sciarra, a lot of your might not know who he is. Very strong elsewhere in sim racing, very well experienced in that. Coming over to RaceRoom and putting on a decent show. I'd say 15th is a pretty good start for a rookie.
Oh, and Jillison there with the hyping. I think that's a disconnect for him. No, he's back.
Still hanging on that connection somehow.
Oh, and Dawn Eden has caught up with Capet.
What's happening to Capet? Or maybe it's just Alex Alderden. Alex Alderden. I knew put that into one big word there. Getting stronger as the race goes on. He's doing a fantastic job sticking some laps on the board, and this Porsche could become definitely one of the favoured cars in the ADAC GT Masters Championship.
Yeah, Dawn Eden was also strong on Zandvoort in the practice. He's one of the guys who can drive fast in Porsche there.
Could it be Dornaden's day? Remember, 5 of these drivers are going to qualify, but which 5 it'll be, we'll only find out after the final 2 minutes and 26 seconds of this racing, and then a further 40 minutes of racing at a completely different circuit.
And it certainly shows also that not every car, there's not one best car, you know? It depends on the driving style. For Dawn Eden, the BMW really wasn't the right choice. But for Capet, it's a much better choice than the Mercedes he had last time. But the Mercedes isn't bad here. Look at Kevin Siggy.
It's what makes this so very, very good. I love a good split on cars because it just makes everything so very interesting. Oh, still trying to get by Gillison there, but maybe being a bit distracted by the connection issues. Going to keep it pinned and now get down the inside. That's going to be near contact. I'd be very, very scared of being around Gillison's car, but I think that might be a nicely well-timed cutback from Jesper Eriksson as Gillison ran wide at T1, and at T2, Jesper Eriksson has the position. The young Swede now 8th on the road. Alex Dornaden now very much knocking at the door for the podium, being like, "Hello, Mr. AAA, can I get by, please?"
Oh, look, Hasse is also caught up with Baldi there. Oh, what a move!
Around the outside. This surely isn't going to work on the exit. Surely not. But I think it may well do so. Risto Cap is going to have the inside here, and we know how good that BMW is. BMW territory. Alex Dornaden says, "No, thank you very much. I'll be taking those points." Goes around the outside, T4 and T5. Now gives him the inside for the final 2 corners. They're still side by side. Absolute commitment from Risto Capet, who stays ahead. Absolute madness. That was quality driving between two of sim racing's best.
And it's not over yet. Final lap has started.
Madness. Absolute madness. Look, he's very much involved in this now. Gogo Bowdy trying to see if he can sneak another couple of positions prior to the checkered flag. Looking backwards from Risto Capit, staring at that Porsche, staring at the BMW as well. Where is Alex Donovan going to try and sneak one? He's going to try and go around the outside, but maybe not as committed on the brakes as Risto Capit is. Maybe he's going to go for a cutback, but he's going to try and make it stick around the outside. Such a good drive off the corner, and that's it done. Alex Donovan onto the podium. This is certainly not done yet, Rob.
No, but it will be hard to counter that in the BMW. Capit trying on the braking here.
Near contact between the two, but I think that might be it. Alex Donovan could well have moved his way up onto the podium with a fantastic move at T2. That was brilliant. Now he's got to deal with Gogo Bowdy, Risto Capit has. But I think he's not going to be able to get by. Back up with a leader though, who's just coming out of those that complex of corners and down towards the final two. Untouchable all afternoon here at the Red Bull Ring. Of course, we'll see how he fares at the next track of Zandvoort. Comes out of that final corner. Kevin Siggy late to the pole position, but he has not looked back from that. That's a victory to his name as Kevin Siggy plants the flag for 25 points here in the second qualifier for the ADAC GT Masters. Emery Chihan doing a great, quiet job to P2, and Alex Donovan, Risto Capit and Gogo Bowdy rounding out that top 5 that would potentially qualify. So the provisional ones are those 5. Of course, everything's going to be turned on its head when we head to Zandvoort. Zbigniew Sciarra does get that final point for the race, just ahead of Richard Schaefer, just to get by. Wow, Rob, that was a hard race to keep track of. So much going on, absolute madness.
A bit of a crazy race, but certainly deserved victory, deserved podium. Siggy, Chihan and Dorn here. Risto Capit, still a great result in the BMW on this track. Ahead of Baldi, Keith Lee Lerner, who had that luck, of course. Best BMW in the race, Gergo Baldi rounding out the top 5. And in a bit of trouble in the battle with DeMarco there. Florian Hasse, the best Audi in P6. Not sure if he will be happy with that, because now a pretty tough track coming up at Zandvoort.
It's going to be hard for him to qualify, that's for sure. Of course, we'll head straight over to Zandvoort. You can see the finishes there, where everything's going to get very interesting, that's for sure. I think there are a few drivers who are in a very good spot. Kevin Siggy, I think Risto Capit's actually in a really, really good spot, because I know he's very good at Zandvoort as well, but we'll obviously have to wait and see how that one plays out.
Yeah, don't turn off the stream. We've got another race coming up, same race length, a lot of action. Yeah, the results. Page with the fastest lap. His strategy didn't work out with the 2 pit stops. And the DNFs, some pretty big names like Kunze Heinemann, Mark Gassner as well, DNF, and Moritz Lerner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a break before we head over to Zandvoort. So obviously we can take a look at what happened in 2019 and what we can hopefully have to look forward to in 2020 as well. So don't go anywhere. Keep into as we head towards Zandvoort for our second qualifying race.
Die Motoren heulen auf und ganz vorne wird's richtig eng. Das gibt's doch nicht. Außenrum. Holy moly. Das Rennen ist vorbei. Und André Santos holt sich die ersten 25 Punkte. Scheitelpunkt ist offen. Der M6 ist außen. Lerner gibt einfach nicht auf. Wahnsinn. Schiebt sich da rein, überrascht den Engländer. Und dieses Mal schiebt er ihn raus. Hasse, der guckt in den Rückspiegel und freut sich.
Herzlich willkommen auf dem Hockenheimring.
Er macht's wirklich außenrum. Aber ist er vorbei? Noch lange nicht. Congratulations an den Sieger, an den Euronics-Fahrer Julian Kunze. Jetzt der Angriff, vielleicht vom Zackspeed Mercedes. Schiebt er so ein bisschen den Meisterschaftsführenden beiseite. Tim Jaschel, die ersten 25 Punkte sind ihm. Im Falle, dass Kunze vorbeigeht, ist Santos Meister. Wahnsinn! Moritz Löhner verteidigt innen mit dem langen Radstand, versucht das außenrum. Julian Kunze, kann er das machen? Die beiden berühren sich. Julian Kunze ist immer noch außen. Wahnsinn! Hinten wird's richtig eng. Julian Kunze, außenrum. Er will es wirklich nochmal probieren. Es reicht nicht. Er reiht sich hinten ein. Wir haben einen neuen Meister. Moritz Löhner, was ein Ding!
Das, was wir jetzt vorhaben, ist für uns ziemliches Neuland, nämlich Rundstrecke auf Zeit zu fahren. Das ist gar nicht unser Feld. Wird sicherlich sehr, sehr lustig, vor allem für die anderen Fahrer.
Mega, also das Setup-Improvement jetzt hier mit den Rigs halt, das ist schon sehr geil. Das Force-Feedback im Lenkrad, die Pedale sind wirklich richtig gut. Also es fühlt sich sehr, sehr realistisch an.
Ich bin gespannt, was uns heute erwartet. Ganz vorneweg der grüne Audi, dann ist Moritz Löhner hinten dran. Zwei Fahrzeuge haben sich bereits quergestellt, aber das soll am Welt nicht interessieren. Denn Moritz Löhner...
Ziemlich interessant, also es ist ja eine komplett neue Welt, sowohl was Kommentieren angeht, sowohl was Esports angeht, aber ich fand es mega interessant und mega cool und ich glaube, nächstes Jahr wird das nochmal ein bisschen größer und noch mehr Leute und noch spannender und mehr Fahrer und ich glaube, das wird richtig geil.
Abstand, also es ist noch richtig eng, ich glaube, man weiß, dass Moritz...
24 Teilnehmer, doppelt so viele Leute wie dieses Jahr und ja, mehr Konkurrenz auf jeden Fall. Deshalb mal sehen, wo es dann hingeht. 80.000 €, ich glaube, das gibt es sehr selten im Sim-Racing-Bereich. Ich glaube, das ist auch einmalig jetzt hier im Rahmen mit der ADAC. Und ja, ich hoffe natürlich, das Maximum rauszuholen und dann den ganz großen Topf dazu holen.
Ich meine, letztes Jahr war schon sehr spaßig und sehr cool, aber jetzt mit dem neuen Setup, mit neuen Lenkrädern, neuen Pedalen und so, das ist Bombe. Genauso wie ich es mir vorgestellt hätte. Und ja, ich kann es eigentlich gar nicht erwarten, bis 2020 endlich kommt.
Well, that was then, but this is now. You can see we have changed over to the Zandvoort circuit currently in practice as they're all circulating around a very, very different circuit, but definitely one that we're going to have to get used to over the next few years, that's for sure. A great circuit, obviously currently being reprofiled. We can enjoy it in its current glory. And that is going to be another 40-minute race to see who is going to qualify. Current standings, though, as we were after the previous race, leaves Kevin Siggy, Emery Chihan, Alex Dornaden, Risto Capet and Gergo Bowdy, the ones in that qualification spot. But obviously everything is turned very much on its head, Rob, as we head to a completely different circuit.
Yes, this time we expect the Mercedes and especially the BMWs at the front. Bit of a harder track for the Porsches and the Audis. And also quite hard to overtake.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of experience, isn't it, Rob? Certainly one that is going to provide us with some interesting... Maybe it should be a bit calmer than what we saw in Austria. Maybe you hope, maybe you don't. I mean, I want a lovely, exciting race. I'm sure Jack Keithley hopes to have a bit of a calmer race than last time after that T1 mistake. But needless to say, patience is going to be king around here. You've got to make sure that you're hitting every apex. You've got to make sure your qualifying is solid. No bad qualifiers here. You can't do it. You just will not get away with it around a circuit like this.
Certainly you won't. And let's talk about one of the drivers who's maybe the biggest surprise qualifying for the shootout. That's this man here, Karel Vega. Already 50 years old and only has been sim racing for 1.5 years. And, you know, in the pre-qualifying faster than drivers like Tim Heinemann. That was a big shock. And Didn't quite work out, didn't score any points at Red Bull Ring, but still nice to see him here on the grid.
Yeah, I spoke about him in the previous race a little bit whilst he was doing some of his racing. A driver that we've commentated on him a few times. Always a bit of an exciting character to have on the grid. It's always nice to see his name popping up. You can catch him in a couple of the previous broadcasts we've got over on RaceRoom, and that's definitely a surprise qualifier. But when he puts a lap together, he can put a very good one. So it's great to see him here.
Yeah, it's great to see him. And if you like to see us here on the English stream, make sure to leave a like, maybe a comment as well on the video, and share the link. So we can do it again for the next 2 races.
Yeah, and I'd definitely love to be doing this for another 2 races. If the excitement follows the previous 3 races that we've had, of course, the likes of Oschersleben, Otto Most, and then Austria today, and now Zandvoort. It's been some exciting racing, and of course the championship, once it begins with those 20 drivers, is going to be more excitement. Of course, you can see the 5 that have currently qualified, that being Brzezinski, Wisniewski, Noj, Banki and Santos. The 5 that are going to join them will be found after another 40 minutes of racing, and that is where things just get so crazy because the cars are so different. Néstor Garcia, who topped the pre-qualifier, is actually the driver who's leading in this practice session. There's a 37.2 to his name, just ahead of Kevin Siggy at the moment. But there is Garcia chucking the car around. Very talented driver, very talented young man. Mercedes looking pretty decent here.
Yeah, but no points for Garcia, of course.
No.
So that will be a tough order. He basically has to win. Because we've seen last time, Keithley was 2nd and then I think 14th or 13th in the next race. And it was not good enough for him to qualify.
Still, I think with 0 points on the board, picking up 25 is not going to be good enough. There you can see about Jack Keithley missing out in the first shootout due to a tiebreaker. He's got a little bit of work on his hands to do here, and even then, regardless of where he actually qualifies, he's definitely going to be under investigation after that first race. So, is he going to take a 3rd attempt for Jack Keithley? That's the question.
Masters now in the practice session. Actually get the results up here.
That BMW is
ahead of
supposed to be good
Garcia.
here.
Yes, but we've seen a 36.9 from Dornheden in the open practice session before.
Yeah, and the Porsche.
And look how close Gian and Rüdiger are. Porsche certainly not bad here. Audi really struggling on this track.
Here's Florian Haase, I believe. Currently down here, it is 19th position. Of course, practice is one thing. Maybe it's just not acclimatized, but regardless, we know that this Porsche is not. Audi rather is not a particularly favoured car for the twists and turns of Zandvoort. It more matches. You said it in that race. So you need to basically be squaring off the corners for a good exit. How can you square off a corner when you're going straight into another corner? It doesn't really work.
Yeah, and I think it was certainly a bit disappointing for all the Audi drivers on Red Bull Ring, even though it started off well, especially for DeMarco. In the end, Hasse was the only one who scored points in 6, but I think if you choose the Audi on this track combo, you're expecting to get a good result on Red Bull Ring. So yeah. I don't think 6 is going to be enough.
No, I don't think so. I think Florian Haase. I mean, look, these races go completely wacko, so we actually don't know anything. But I would say that Florian Haase probably has to wait until shootout number 3 for his chance to stick himself into the main championship. Although he is a driver that I do expect to qualify, because we know how good Florian Haase is. Of course, qualified last year, previous champion in these cars. Néstor Garcia out of the final corner. Is he going to top the session? No, he decides to escape anyway. Practice rather, it doesn't really matter. We've got another 3 minutes and 20 seconds before we head into that qualifying session. Mr. Champion, Moritz Lerner. Is he one that, well, he's obviously going to have to wait until the next one with that contact that drops him back.
Well, I mean, if he wins here...
He could.
He could.
But... I don't know, it's tight. he definitely could. Obviously, it's the top 5, not the top 1, so you know it is very possible. Bearing in mind 5th place in this scored 11 points. So actually, no, to be fair, you're right. Because if Gergo Baudi, who had that 5th place, if he scores another 5th place, to be fair, even if he gets 4th place, it's 24 points that he'd have, which is still 1 less than the victor. So it is very possible. You are right. Didn't mean to just shun you out there. But it's a lot of work that needs to be done. Here's Jack Keithley, man top in the session. I don't like Jack Keithley's not really the kind of driver that would hang on to the issues of the previous race. Like I'm pretty sure he can dust himself. I'm sure he dust himself off almost 2 corners after it happens. When yeah, whatever, I'll get on with it. Because he's a driver that's kind of like just focuses on the next corner, the next person to overtake. Kevin Siggy tops the session on a 37.227 now. Moves up in that AMG. Way a bit of a spin. Now we saw the driver in the previous round, that being Q Brzezinski, win both races and score 50 points and take proper top honours. Could we see the same thing out of Kevin Siggy?
We could see it actually. And it's once again, it's the same story as with Brzezinski. Brzezinski also had a car that wasn't really favored in the first shootout. Most drivers had the Mercedes in the first shootout. And Brzezinski was really the only top Porsche in that race. And he managed to win both races. Now, of course, this time Garcia and Heinemann are pretty close from the pace, but haven't really scored in the first race. Actually, I have to check who was the best Mercedes. I think it was Högfeldt, who finished 10th in the race. So it could be that the Mercedes is the right choice once again if you can drive it, and Kevin Siggy-Rebanak certainly can.
I think the example is it's not just about the car you pick. It's about how you're driving. Like you said before, like with Risto Capet and with Alex Dorneden, they did the first round in cars that arguably they're not bad cars. It's pretty heavy pit and entry from Jesper Eriksson. They're not bad cars. No car realistically is bad per se. It's just about finding a car that matches your driving style, right? And when you're talking about such small margins, finding that right style works for you. Risto Capet picked the BMW rather than the Mercedes. It's worked out for him. Erhan Yovsky, I'd say, moving from Mercedes to BMW, it's not worked out for him. He was obviously in the Mercedes and was really, really strong last time, whereas now in the BMW, he seems to be struggling a bit more. It's interesting to see. Maybe in the third qualifier, he's going to go back to the Mercedes and try and pick a car that's maybe less track specific and more driver specific. Practice session done, and we'll head into qualifying. Of course, there is your schedule. Next time we head to 2 classic German tracks, Nürburgring and Hockenheim, and then the final qualifier 2 times at the Sachsenring. That is where things are going to get interesting. Of course, all the other ones before we move between circuits, that one we're staying at the same one and doing 2 races there. What are people going to learn over that first race to create a scintillating prospect for that second race? Here's that massive race out pit lane that always dominates the first part of qualifying. So unbelievably dangerous. Oh, there we go. Alexander Vermont was the first car on circuit. It's now been taken over by maybe Jesper Eriksson.
Yeah, it's Eriksson.
It's Eriksson. Yeah. There we go. To be fair, this track position is very key, isn't it?
Still remember the days of the Esports WTCR launch event here, where we also raced in Zandvoort. First track of the evening. Took Dorneden. No, it was Keithley and Leon. Keithley and Leon. 3 corners before they crashed.
Yeah. I mean, that was. Oh yeah, that was one where one of the Oscaro drivers came up to me and said, I can't remember who it was, but he said if Jack Keithley ever does that again, he dies. And I was like, whoa, okay. I'm his teammate and all, but seriously, it's not my problem. That was a great event, though. I really appreciate that event. That was a lot of fun.
Still battling here. Romain running into the back of the car of Keithley, I think. And Eriksson has a nice lead, so let's stay on board with him for the first lap.
Yeah, down towards Tarzan, the very first corner, banked heavily. You can make it around the outside, but it is a tricky one to do so. But going for the diamonding off, we want to go for that later apex as we pick it up. T2, T3, T4, as everything really tightens up. This hairpin's great fun. You can catch a slide. That was well overshot. I mean, you can get a good drive out of the corner, but I don't think it's going to be quite that good. Absolutely flat through this bit. Back up the hill, and then as everything drops away, and you've got this really fast right-hander, one of the fastest corners on the circuit, absolutely pinching it down towards that white line. So hard to get on that white line every single time. Flick it left, flick it right. Just a little bit wide there. I think just didn't quite touch the curb in the way you'd want to, and then heavy braking. That is my least favourite corner on the circuit. It's such a hard one to get that perfect line through. Then we tighten things up with a hairpin. Going to see some overtaking into here. We've certainly seen a lot over the last couple of years of racing on RaceRoom racing experience into that corner. And then we have this tight right-hander into hairpin complex. It's maybe not the greatest for racing. It looks great on a track map for racing overtaking, but it's never really worked out quite that way. And then it's 90-degree right-hander into the final corner. Completely ridiculous on speed. I don't think it's quite flat in these cars. Is it flat in these actually?
No, it's not flat in... Maybe flat in the BMW, but I don't think it is. All the other cars certainly not. See the time from Ericsson. 37.3, I think that's pretty good.
Well, that's a tidy lap for the first one, especially considering he looked a little bit wide in a couple of corners. Particularly T3, instantly beaten by Wiesenmüller. 27.2. Nesta Garcia also goes ahead.
Yeah, they both need to win here.
Yeah, definitely.
Second place, and they're basically out for the shootout.
What's our second place man, Kevin Siggy, going to do? Going to cross the line and go to P5. Only P5, 37.439. You can still qualify in second position, but the thing is you're like kind of leaving things up to luck at that point, right? And just hoping that everyone else has had a bad race. It's possible, but it's not likely. Like you said with Jack Keithley last time, I had second in the first race. Didn't have a very good second race, and that's what really cost him.
Pinches up to P2, wow.
Very nice.
He's got 2 points at least.
Adam Pinches would be a surprise qualifier, that is for sure. Of course,
started closely last season. He was in a couple of LAN events by the leaderboard qualifier for the individual events. I think it was actually 3 of them. But yeah, in this field, Pinches certainly made a jump forward in terms of pace, but he's still struggling a little bit in the races. Julian Kunze, yeah, that's another driver who basically needs to win after his disconnect. But in the Porsche, it will be hard.
Yeah, you've got to. I think with the Porsche, you've got to qualify like basically on the front row and get a good start, which is easier said than done. That's for sure. We'll see where he can move. He's currently in that 23rd spot that you can see on your screen. We'll see if he can move his way up the order. It's a decent couple of sectors, but not really great. Moves up at the 10th position at the moment, a 5.75, so a good 3/10 off of that pole position. Currently headed by Williams Esports, Wiesenmüller.
Gassner here on the screen. He drove in the real GT Masters a couple of seasons ago for the same team that he races the livery of, MRS Racing. He was in the Nissan back then. Now in the BMW, and he's kind of struggling this season to get up to grips with these cars.
Got a decent team behind him though, and ones that he can really look up to and aspire towards, and maybe move himself up the order. Payich had a great qualifying, at least in the early parts of that qualifying in Austria. Unfortunately, the Porsche not quite as strong at the twists of Zandvoort. I think that Mercedes is looking like the best all-rounder of the day thus far.
Yeah, look at the order. Of course, Siggy is still in a decent position. P6 after winning, that's good. Dorniden, Jihan, also Capet in 16th. They're all a bit further down. Hasse in 13th as well. So that could really shake up the order.
It could move the likes of Wiesenmüller, Pinches maybe, into a really good position to qualify should everything go right.
Also Ericsson, because Ericsson scored 8 points already in the first race.
He did indeed, yeah. who's going to qualify? This is very interesting. 8 minutes to go. Of course, we're not even halfway through this qualifying session, so they've got time to bounce back. Florian Haase looked pretty weak at the early parts of the session last time. It now becomes a Williams Esports 1-2-3 as Jack Keithley moves up into 3rd position. Red Bull Racing Esports looking to move back on the pole, not quite good enough. Only a 6,000th of a second off.
Just on this home race.
Hopefully he sorted out those connection issues. P5. It's good quality for the Porsche.
Yeah, within the 10th of Lerner's time. But they haven't really set the fastest times yet that they set in the practice. Even Murphy, he's back after disconnecting just before the start of the first race.
It's a shame though, because he really needed a good result at Austria. I mean, he was looking good in the early parts of that qualifying, but it's going to be a struggle for that car around this circuit. That's the problem. Those are the choices you make when you take a risky choice like the Audi. Is you're going to have to sort of eat your lumps and just take the punches when you get to a circuit that really doesn't match your car. 21st position is going to get for him as an Audi driver. The highest Audi, 14th position at the moment. Florian Haase, all the way down the order. This is Hani Jovski, was one of those contending for a qualification position last time out when we were at Autodrom Most in Oschersleben. Currently only P20 here, without a point on the board across the evening as well. Haniowski's looking like he's going to have to change his thought process heading into the 3rd qualifier, because it's very unlikely he's going to be able to get anywhere near the top end of the field. What about this man though? That is quite a decent second sector, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like Ziggy is driving basically without traction control there. The way how his car is sliding out of the corners. That's very hard to control on the Mercedes.
What's he going to do at the line though? Currently in 7th position, looking pretty decent. Moves up to 4th position. That is a healthy time. A tiny gap to the top. About 2/200ths of a second separating the top 4. To be fair, Jack Keithley's not much further behind. Very, very tight margins. A 10th of a second separating your top 7. As Moritz then is looking to end that. As he's setting a pretty decent time. Purple first, purple second. Final corner. Oh, some smoke to navigate. It'd only really be a distraction, that. It shouldn't really slow you down. And at this level, they don't really get distracted that easily. Heads towards the line where it's Lerner currently on a 37.263. Is he going to improve that time? He does, but only a 2:10.
Still a good time, still pole of course. And here's Alex Dorneden, move of the race in the first race. What's he going to do here? Really good lap. Should lose a little bit of time in the last sector though because of the final corner. But he has a slipstream of might be Keithley or maybe Syriza.
That racing between him and Capet in that first race was absolutely incredible. Speaking of Capet, I may have bigged him up a bit too early. I know he is good at this circuit, but only in 18th position in that BMW.
Paul from Dorneden!
Wow! Had a good time. 37.093, a pole by over a 10th of a second. That is absolutely bonkers on the speed scale. He desperately wants that qualifying position. He moves himself realistically into a proper favourite position with that. Currently 16 points on the board for him. Emery Cheehan, we're looking at the other higher Porsche driver. Currently scored 20 points in that first race with that second place, but down in 10th. Definitely still a decent position to qualify, but needs to do a bit more work. Here's Risto Capet, 19th now. Needs a good time on the board. Gogo Bowdy as well, yeah, 17th. He's got 11 points. That's realistically not going to be good enough to qualify. He needs more points on the board here, and 17th. It's not an easy place to make those positions up.
Keithley could take pole here with this lap.
Need a lot of commitment in that final sector towards the line. Only 6th still. What a lap time from Alex Dorniden. Good first sector as well, beating the other Porsche, Jesper Eriksson. Like you say, he already has 8 points on the board. Could he be a potential surprise qualifier?
Especially if there are penalties for drivers like Keithley or Baldi potentially.
Of course, you'll have to stay tuned. Wow, that's really good as well. Here we go. We'll keep an eye on Jesper Eriksson heading through this final sector. Of course, if you want to find out more on what's happening in RaceRoom, follow us on Facebook. Of course, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitch, all over the place. Make sure you're up to date with what's happening in RaceRoom and get the game yourself on Steam. Commitment to the extreme. As Jesper Eriksson comes through the final corner. This could be pole. It looks very healthy.
Oh, it's second.
Ooh, not quite. 118. Just missed out by 0.02 of a second.
Honestly,
Very good lap time, though.
No one expected Jesper Eriksson to be on the potential front row on Zandvoort.
No.
It just shows that the second track there's always more surprises because no one's forced to practice here. Everyone just has to hot lap on Red Bull Ring on the first track, and then on the second track it's up to the drivers themselves. Garcia with a good lap, but was a bit slidey in the last sector. Dorniden is purple, Siggy is also purple. Ooh, and that's the lap over for Garcia there.
I think that's what we said about Nestor Garcia in the previous one, wasn't he? Because he was very good at Oschersleben, but then when it came to heading over towards the John Most, he really struggled. Yeah. Alex Dorniden, obviously not happy about how close Jesper Eriksson got there. Oh, it's not the best second sector, though.
Nope,
And it's not the best third sector either. Siggy.
That's decent from Siggy.
Yeah. Just needs a bit of commitment here through the final. Could he move himself towards that front row? I think it's a bit of a tall order, but well, we'll have to wait and see. He's come up towards the line, using that Merc power up, stays sixth. Obviously not happy with that lap. Oh, who was that in the barrier? That was Rodinger or no, it could have been Carol Vega or one of that lot. One of the ones in the black Porsche anyway. Gillison. The BMWs looked really strong in qualifying at Austria when maybe the form book said they shouldn't have. Porsches potentially shouldn't have looked too strong here, yet here we are, and Gillison's going to come across the line and go to fourth and make it 3 Porsches in the top 4.
And the qualifying, the time is over. Keithley's gonna start 8th here. I don't think he can make it over the line. It'll be very, very close.
I think he might. I think he may just do it.
Not sure if he's even going to be faster.
No, it's not looking like a particularly brilliant time from the Englishman. Comes out of the final corner. He's got 15 seconds. The board comes up. Again, we'll keep you up to date on how that's going. Alex Dorniden currently on that provisional pole position. Jesper Eriksson in at second. Jack Keithley, is he going to move up the order at all? No. No, he's not. He's staying 8th.
Yeah, Vermont just jumped to 10th. Well, that's your qualifying. Jihan in 9th. Good quali from him. Baldi in 19th. Kappa 21st.
Wow. Wow. 2 of those that were in the provisional top 5. Dropping way down the order. How this 2-race format really throw things on their heads. There you can see the provisional standings after Shootout 2. Can Jesper Eriksson do it? Jack Keithley. Ooh, this is where things get very, very interesting. What's going to happen in that top 5? I think Kevin Siggy's a pretty surefire contender to qualify, but everyone else is very much a big question mark next to.
Yeah. Let's see if Lerner can get the win here, but against these Porsches, especially at the start, it will be tough. And Dorniden looking better and better.
Dorniden's in a very strong spot at the moment. Obviously picked up a 3rd place for 16 points last time, and with only 10 seconds on the ball before we get going here. Goodness me, I have no idea who's going to qualify for this one. Here we go then. Who is going to be our 5 new qualifiers. We are about to get underway here in Zandvoort, and that run down towards Tarzan as things are going to get really tight and twisty. We are back underway here, racing for the ADAC GT Masters, and it's not really the best launch there for Jesper Eriksson, who's been jumped by Isaac Gillison on home turf up to second position. He's now being swamped by BMWs, by Mercedes, as Maurice Lerner's trying to move his way back at the pack, but I think he's going to have to drop down another position to Nestor Garcia, who's moved up into fourth. That's a great move from him. Look at all this battle pack. Oh, there's contact with Nestor. Adam Pinches. It's the same car. Wow, it was tight there coming up through T3. Everything goes single file as we head back up the hill. Wow, that was pretty tight. Pinches is lucky there was another car there to effectively save him from that. But Alex Dornaden leading away. He's out in the middle, down towards the back end of the pack. Then Mr. Marco, who was so strong last time out. Maybe not so much here, but maybe moving his way up the order. Now 23rd spot. Unable to score points at Austria, despite looking strong in the early phases of the race. Maybe some strategic mistakes and a bit of contact as well. Here's two BMWs going side by side. That's Soroka and Gergo Baldi, who's way down in the pack. This is Alexander Vermont with, I think, Mark Gassner directly behind, Tim Heinemann directly
One Haas is off.
Gillison, by the way, Gillison has got by Jesper Eriksson. This is the second position. And so this is all correct. This is all happening. Haas has dropped way down the order. Here we are looking at Eamon Murphy, who's moved his way right up the order, now in 15th position. You've got those two going side by side ahead. That's Vermont and Gassner in the two BMWs. Ooh, you really need to take a breath in this stuff. There's your leader, Alex Dornaden, ahead of Gillison and Eriksson.
Yeah, Gillison jumped Eriksson at the start there.
They did swap over the lap at one point. Maurice Lerner
looking.
Nestor Garcia. I don't think that's really going to be the best move. He's going to have the inside up towards the second corner, but just has to drop in behind the Merc. Oh, it's not the best start for Maurice Lerner. If he gains a couple of spots, then there is potential for his qualification. Of course, we'll try and give you some updated standings as the race progresses. Obviously not now because everything's a bit crazy. But in the latter part of the stages, we can update you on who the potential qualifiers are. And of course, we'll tell you before the end of the broadcast who our provisional qualifiers are. Richard Schaefer already out of the race. There's Hogfeld. There must have been an incident there because he's way down the pack. Very close here for 5th position. Maurice Lerner going down the inside. Oh, it's so tight. Maybe a little bit too tight there. Jack Keithley directly behind. How's Jack going to feel about maybe passing Maurice Lerner? Does he really want to put it under that much risk? Or maybe he needs to if he wants to qualify. Needs to get some more points on the board. And realistically, is the lead of the Williams drivers.
We will get you the provisional standings later on. Bad exit there from Lerner.
Yeah, pretty terrible to be honest. We'll see if Jack Keithley can make it around the outside. He's going to be heavy on the brakes, but I don't think the outside line when you're that far back is the best option. And that is how it shows. There's Alex Dornaden leading away from the Porsche trio at the head of the pack. It's currently a Porsche podium on what would potentially be a BMW track. That is a bit of a shock to the system, I think. But Alex Dornaden, after a really, to be honest, underwhelming is the best way of putting it. First shootout is rocketing up the order. Oh, Nestor Garcia's off the road. Nestor Garcia's dropped down the order. There he is. Oh my goodness. That's the fastest corner. I don't know if that was contact that escorted him off the road or maybe it was just a mistake. I did say that corner is incredibly difficult.
I was not looking there, unfortunately. It's always possible to clip the grass on the outside when you're entering the corner. And that's chances of qualifying completely over for Garcia. No points in the first shootout, last place now.
Yeah, that's it. That's that job done for him, unfortunately. This young man is showing a lot of potential here. Not a favourite to qualify. I don't think it was on many of our radars when it comes to a qualification position in this championship. But at the moment, is doing an incredible incredible job. 8 points on the board before this. Now looking to add 16 to that to triple his tally, and that would be a handful of points that would go very, very nicely towards a qualification position. Just as an FYI, that race winner last time out is currently in 6th position, that of Kevin Siggy, under attack from another Mercedes, Adam Pinches, the car directly behind. Emery Sheehan, the guy who finished in 2nd position, is the car directly behind this. So those two, that being Siggy and Sheehan, are looking decent at the moment. Sheehan scoring 8 points, Siggy scoring, off the top of my head, 10.
Yeah, at the moment, the qualifiers would be Dorneden, Siggy, Sheehan, Gillison, and Ericsson. Keithley not qualified.
To be fair, I think Keithley's got a... Wow, that was close. Gergo Bowdy trying to muss his way back up the order. Leon rolling up. He's got to use all of his racing experience, does Gergo Bowdy, and he is using it. There's another position, ding. And that was a very important pass, because that puts Gergo Bowdy into the points-paying positions. 15th and up. Every position he gains now is an extra point in his pocket. He's going to need to score a lot of them if he wants to qualify, though.
Keithley and Ericsson, that's probably the closest battle we have right now for the top 5. Gillison is looking good. Sheehan is also looking quite solid. Of course, Dorneden and Siggy a bit ahead of everyone else. But Ericsson is under pressure by the 2 Williams cars, and Keithley would qualify, of course, if they both get past him.
Wasn't able to make a move there into T1. Going to go for the cut back down the inside. That is beautifully timed. Oh, but I think he's just going to get the better run off the corner of Jesper Eriksson. That was a solid attempt from Moritz Lerner. Beautifully timed comeback. I think he made a bit of contact there at T3 though. Just a little rub, nose to rear. But that was almost perfectly timed. Jesper Eriksson almost a bit desperate here, is allowing the top 2 to run off whilst seeing the BMW duet behind. Those Williams drivers trying to find any way by at the moment. So we swing it right through this ever-tightening complex of corners. This was where we saw Gergo Bowdy make a move down the inside. Unfortunately, not quite.
Siggy tipped the curve there a bit hard.
Ooh. Again, just trying to look down the inside. This Porsche's a bit boaty in the middle part, but maybe that's just in comparison to BMW, though. We know how good that is in turning. Whoa, late on the brakes, more contact between the two. It's just going to push Jesper Eriksson just slightly wide. All this contact on the rear. Look at the train that is forming behind Jesper Eriksson. It's down to about, I think, 13th place, maybe? Maybe even lower than that.
That's close. We've got a bit of a timing bug once again with the gaps. Quite as big as they appear to be in the game. Always seems to happen in the second race, and Eriksson is certainly under big pressure.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, take the gaps
wrong
off
angle.
Going to try to go around the outside at Tarzan. Is he going to try and pinch it back down the inside? A bit of a lock-up, a bit of a run wide, and once again down the inside. But that Porsche gets such a good run on the outside of the corner, Rob. Oh, this is going to be very frustrating. Again, just trying to slot it down the inside. Basically, he's just trying to get it in a position where Jesper Eriksson can't really do anything. Flashing the light, just trying to distract the young Swede as best he can. That on a younger, more inexperienced driver could potentially pay off. Those filling the mirrors, distracting, doing everything you can, using all that experience to distract the driver ahead. Of course, I wouldn't suggest doing that to the likes of, say, Alex Dorneden or those drivers that have got so much experience in this style of racing. But you know, you might as well try it with one of the young guns. You can see there's a 5-car pack here just separating itself. And I think that's separating itself, yeah. So it's down to Adam Pinches. Behind that, Tim Heinemann is in 8th position as an FYI. About a second and a bit off the back of the pack. We ride on board with our race 1 winner, Kevin Siggy. 6th position. That's a good solid haul of points that should see him take a qualification position at present as things stand. We've got 10 seconds And
what
then
happened
the
to
pit stop
Jihan?
window opens. That is a good question. Where is... Oh. Oh dear. I didn't even catch that. I didn't even know he dropped out of the order. That's not good. That is not good for his qualification chances, because scoring points from this position is going to be very, very difficult.
Oh, that could bring Keithley back into contention here. Window is open. Now we'll get really messy, so we will do an update of the points after the drivers have come back out of the pits.
Yeah, once that pit window closes, with 10 minutes to go, that's where we'll potentially know where things may stand. Know how I dodged there? Because
Lerner!
Wow, Maurice Lerner moving up onto the podium. Now he's desperate to find his way down Jesper Eriksson. But Eriksson's to have the inside again. Is this another failed attempt from Maurice Lerner? It certainly is. Oh, he's very much struggling. That was a good attempt, though, learning from Dirk Bowley's handbook there. Where's he going to pick now? Inside, outside? I think he's going to try the outside, maybe go for a cut back, but then he'll cut back into the outside line of a hairpin. He's everywhere he is looking. He is not able to pass his Porsche. Look at the background as Jack Keithley is having to defend from Kevin Siggy. P5 and P6. He's obviously got a teammate, does Jack Keithley, directly behind Siggy.
Oh, Doniden and Gillison are both in.
Oh, as is everyone else. Look at how busy this pit lane's going to get. Wow, Kevin Siggy was committed to the pit lane, but then decided, nah, mate, I'm staying out, thanks.
Eriksson leading now.
And with no pressure from behind, that might help him set some pretty solid lap times. Of course, this track is very heavy on tyres. I'm going to suspect they're going to be on fronts for this one.
It will be hard to say. Let's see if we can spot something. Well, hard to see anything here. Doniden is the first one who's moving again. Lerner gained some time on Gillison. Oh, drive through for Keithley again.
Oh, Jack Keithley.
Drive through for Baldi as well.
Oh my goodness.
That's just
Baldi
Keithley again there. Unbelievable.
Yeah, after such a good drive to get back into the points for Gogo Baldi, drive through penalty. That's I think that's pretty much it done for Gogo, because he's going to have he was down in about 15th place when he made that pit stop.
Someone like Florian Hasse has retired from the race, but he would be within a shot now that all of this has happened. Jihan at the back. Drives the penalty. Oh, Vermont and Heinemann.
Oh, he spun Heinemann. Was that Heinemann maybe being a bit aggressive? Was that Vermont leaving it in a corner where maybe he shouldn't have? Either way, that's Tim Heinemann. 2 retirements on the day. 1 for fuel, 1 for contact. And Alexander Vermont for AAA Esports spins out the almost a RaceRoom legend as Siggy Eriksson come into the pit lane. Gassner also comes into the pit lane, leading Alexander Vermont. Eamon Murphy also staying out. Shock. Risto Caput staying out.
Yeah, Caput has a good chance to qualify now. All the troubles of the other drivers here. I think a lot of cars pitting early to not have the big difference between the grip levels of the 2 axes. So it makes a lot of sense for sure. Doniden still leading the race ahead of Gillison and Lerner. Let's see where Revanak comes out. That's Keithley pulling into the pits again.
There's Siggy. There was also the Swede of Jesper Eriksson, who's lost out now. He has lost out
to Lerner,
to Lerner. So that's that one done. Could Maurice Lerner qualify after not scoring a single point in the first race?
Was Jihan pitting too early?
Potentially, because he is around. Yeah, potentially. Maybe it's an odd one. There, it's an odd mistake to make. There's no damage on the car. He's not hit anything.
Maybe he repaired it, but
that's a good point.
Took him exactly the time that the regular pit stop takes him. So maybe he just came into the pits too early, thinking it would maybe count.
Either way, that could be a very costly error for the driver that finished second place last time out.
Lerner and Gillison. I think Gillison got hyping again.
If that is the case, then Moritz Lerner would like to get by ASAP. As Risto Cap. Oh no, Eamon Murphy's coming to pit lane, that's why. So I think Eamon Murphy, DeMarco, that lot, I think it's only the top 2 that have stayed out now.
Yeah. I think someone just dropped off the serve there.
I think so as well. Not sure who it was.
Might have been Rüdinger. So don't see him in the timing anymore.
Yeah, I don't see Liam Rüdiger on timing either. Yeah, so I think it's Rüdinger out potentially for a disconnect. I think Erhan Yovski's also out of the race. Yeah, he is. Tot, Haase, Hogfeld, Garcia, and Schaefer, your retirements.
Drive through for Murphy as well. Just comes out alongside Garibaldi, who hasn't taken this drive-through yet. Keithley has. There's only 23 cars still running.
Murphy
retired.
He just pulls out and escapes. So that's it. That's me done. Might as well. Fair enough.
Keithley will probably get into the points.
Points for this, yeah.
Regardless of his drive-through. At this time, he doesn't have a second place in the first race, so it's looking quite difficult for him.
Wow, what a couple of races we're getting here. Oh, this is absolute madness. Alex Dornadon looking very strong. Isaac Gillison now, his mirror's absolutely full of the hungry BMW of Moritz Lerner. This is for second place once the pit stops all cycle their way out. And that would be a very healthy second place for Moritz Lerner. And he would set his sights on Alex Dornadon, maybe trying to close that gap, but it's going to be a hard one to close. But we know that BMW is, to be fair, it's a little bit... am I right in saying that the BMW is lighter on its tyres than the Porsche?
Yeah, just a bit, but the Porsche is also quite good.
Oh! Gillison, ow! Wow, that's a big crash. Easiest way Moritz Lerner is going to make a move. Just too much power.
He's got big damage at the front.
No. I think he's got away with that pretty
No,
luckily,
I don't think he has. Let's see if we can see his car there. You can see the whole bonnet is missing.
Either way, that's put him in a not so great position. That's a shame for him.
Everyone's dropping back here. Everyone's making mistakes.
It's not been the cleanest of racing that we've had this evening. There's been a lot of mistakes, which means there's a lot of potential for drivers like Moritz Lerner, as we've seen moved up the order, for Jack Keighley to potentially get back into things should more drivers make mistakes. Ooh. Every option is still a possibility at the moment, Rob. There's someone who's also crashed on the back straight. You can see some smoke there. Not sure who that was.
Syriza.
Certainly is, yeah. Williams Gym Esports. The feeder team to the main Williams Esports team. Of course, they've got 4 very, very strong drivers.
Still leading, and Capet, actually quite a big gap there. I think they will stretch it as long as possible, just to hope for some chaos behind. Gillison doesn't seem to lose any speed from the damage.
Cap is only staying out so Vermont can pit and then he can lead a lap. Just make his record 4 out of 4, I think. I think it's 4 anyway. I'm pretty sure he led both of the last 2. Before today. Yeah, Gillison, I mean, I think he got a bit lucky there. As Cedric comes in the pit lane. When's Emery Cheehan coming in the pit lane though? Does he know that he needs to make another pit stop? Surely he does. There is what will be your eventual race leader, currently in that 4th position, circulating around. But it's looking like we're going to get 2 races with 2 fairly dominant performances from the drivers. Of course, Dornadon, the star driver, realistically, well, in my opinion anyway, of that last race, some incredible racing between himself and Risto Capet to get himself up to 3rd position and really hammer home his potential and how much more comfortable he is in that Porsche versus the car he was in the first couple of races. But still, there's half the race to go, and he's got enough experience to not make a mistake, but you never know. With how things have gone today, you really don't know. I don't think Moritz Lerner is going to be quick enough to catch that gap, though, because it's, as much as the timing on screen, kind of ignore it. It's a bit whack. I think that gap's a little bit too big visually. What's it, around 3.5, 4 seconds?
The interesting thing is, at the moment, Lerner doesn't even have to catch up to Dorniden.
Oh, really?
Because there were so many incidents with the cars behind, especially Gillison now. At the moment, this result would be good enough for him. Time and points with Gian. It's hard to say if Gian's gonna get any points when he comes into the pits. It's also hard to say with Romo and Capita coming out. They might change this order a little bit. But it's a real possibility that both Gian and Lerner might qualify here with just 1 second place finish. Of course, Dorniden and Siggy are kind of secure if they stay on the road, and Ericsson in a much better position now.
Yeah, wow. I mean, even if someone does get involved, the tie break, if I recall correctly from the last race, was is whoever finishes highest in the second race. So in this case, it would be Moritz Lerner. Yeah, it's good for Lerner because he's effectively got 2 positions. He can, like, 2 more people that can get involved, another person anyway, that can get involved, and he's still qualified. It's only that second person, which, to be honest, looking at the point standards that we've got there, Rob, doesn't really look like it's gonna head its way. What a drive though for Jesper Eriksson. Shout out to the man.
I don't think anyone expected him to be even within a shot of qualifying here. Showed some potential in the first race, but on the field with Kunze, with Heinemann, with Keithley, with Florian Hasse, with Nestor Garcia, you know, with all these drivers, Jajowski as well, Baldi, that really comes as a surprise.
Yeah, it's very, very good. What the future holds for that young man, I don't quite know, but it looks like it could be good things in 2020. Mironovic just trying to move his way up. Risto Kappa's not going to lead a lap. That's it. Not 4 out of 4. He's done. He's in the pit lane. It's fine.
And Romar comes out pretty far ahead. Comes out ahead of Gillison.
Vermont have any? No, he didn't have any. Did he have points in the last race? No, didn't think so. And now Vermont has come out just ahead of, where actually is he? Just ahead of Gillison. Yeah. Here's Risto Kappet looking at the back of Mark Gassner.
Kappet would get 6 points here if we count out Jihan. We'll put him on 19. It's not over for him.
Nope. Gets by Gassner, and that's 20. Which then puts him ahead of Emery Chihan on the points, because they'd have 20 apiece. They have 3 drivers split on 20, and Moritz Lerner and Risto Kappa would have the highest finish in this race, thus giving them that qualification position. That said, if Emery Chihan does pit and then incidents happen and then gets 15th place somehow, then Emery Chihan will qualify because he'll have 21 and there's no tiebreak needed there.
Yeah, we can't count out Keithley either. And I really don't understand why Baldi quit. Because Baldi would have still a chance to qualify here for sure. Keithley P40 now will be P13 when Chihan comes in. Because Chihan of course has to stop for tires, doesn't just have to drive through the pit lane.
Yeah. Does the game remind him if he's not pitted with the final sort of like couple of minutes of this?
I think it does.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. From memory it does, but surely Emery Chihan could. He's not done it yet. He's the only driver still going that hasn't fulfilled the pit stop within the specific and required window. There's Julian Kunze. Just battling on the back of Isaac Gillison, who's done a good job to recover, to be fair, and try and keep this up to pace. But now that mirror being filled by the German of Julian Kunze, we know how quick he is. Multiple pole positions across his record. I think had a couple of the early pole positions in WTCC Esports Championship back in the day in 2017. A long time ago. So don't quote me on that. But we know how quick he is anyway across his run.
how lucky was Gillison that his car's still going.
Yep.
Might still qualify, sitting on 16 points now at the moment. He's a bit of luck though.
But you never really know when luck strikes. You can't. That's the point of luck. But oh, Julien. Oh no, it's just a lag. I thought I switched positions. And I was like, we're looking at this game. Depends on if his connection holds up as well. Because we saw issues with it throughout the run of the Austria race, and it's looking to rear its head here as well. This man's not looking back, is he? I think it's stabilised around what looks to be around sort of like 4 to 5 seconds between himself and Moritz Lerner. It is a quality drive, and would net Porsche their third victory of these qualifiers. 2 come courtesy of Kuba Brzezinski, and at this rate 1 to the name of Alex Dornaden. Mercedes, the only other manufacturer to have taken a victory here.
And he's proving
qualifiers.
he can do both. You know, he can fight for the positions. Masterclass in the first race against Capet at the end. That might cost Capet in the end the place on the grid. But Dorn even got past him. And he is just controlling the race. Led from start until now. Still has got 13 minutes to navigate. The hardest 13 minutes, of course. Because one of the axes is, you know, one set of tires will be really, really worn now.
Yeah. I think what we've seen is that for the likes of take, for example, Risto Capet and all that, if you look at Haniyovsky and Gogo Baldi, who looked in a strong position in the previous round of qualifying, and they didn't get in because of their issue in Oschersleben, we'll ignore that, but they looked strong. It was their chance to get in. Pushed off to the second round. They were like, okay, fine, we'll come back here with aggression, both of which are nowhere near qualification. Well, actually, they can't qualify because they're both out of the race. So my point here is that you have to grab this advantage. You can't just sort of go, oh, well, sorry, we'll leave it to next round. You need to grab them whilst you have them, because you never know what's going to happen last round. You could pick the wrong car. You could just not get the right qualifying session. It puts you further down the grid. You need to make the most of these, and some of these drivers are kind of squandering their opportunities. President Jack Keithley squandered it twice.
Yeah, and there's drivers like Tim Yarshu who skipped this qualifier, who hasn't tried it yet. And he certainly won't be expecting to see Baldi, Heinemann, Keithley, Florian Hafse as well in his qualifier. Vermont as well, most likely. Vermont has a good race here, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough.
Yeah, maybe even Tim Heinemann as well if he decides to come back. Not a good 2 races. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a culture shock for Tim Yarshu if he does take to the grid.
Sheehan is not coming in.
Nope.
Oh, Sheehan almost spins there.
This is his last attempt. If he doesn't come in this lap, it will be a disqualification. See if he catches the memo.
I'm not sure what the penalty is. It could be 1 minute 30 time penalty as well.
I don't know what it is either.
Either way, if he comes into the pits now, maybe he has a chance, but probably it doesn't really matter.
Well, we're all going to venture into the question that no one's really asked of what happens if you don't pit within a pit stop window in an online qualifier. Is he going to go right?
Yeah,
yes, he is. So we don't get that question answered. I was a bit curious then. Let's see what happens. He's surely not going to be able to qualify. Not unless a lot of luck goes his way. A few retirements. Emery Sheehan drops down the order, gives Jack Keithley another position or 2. Another couple of points to his name. And that's him moving into the position to score 13 points with 4 in this one. Not enough yet. Will it be enough by the end of the race, though? That's what we need to know.
So at the moment, if it stays like this, Don Eden will be the first one to qualify. Of course, after a dominant performance here. Kevin Sigi-Rebanak, also no surprise there, will be the second one. 38 points. 24 points for Jesper Eriksson. Big surprise. And then 2 drivers on 20 points. Moritz Lerner would win the tiebreaker. And despite his problems here in this race, Emery Sheehan. Because Risto Capet
Yeah.
is just sitting on 19 points now.
Yeah, Risto Capet needs to get by Mark Gassner. There's also another couple of positions. If he wants to really confirm his position in qualifying, he needs to get by Mark Gassner and then the car ahead, which is Julian Kunze. With Isaac Gillison directly ahead as well, you could see him gain another one on top of that with those issues on that car, because it is definitely slower at the moment, and it is dropping those two back into the clutches of Gassner and Capet. Zbigniew FCR doing a good job in 11th position as well. Obviously scored a 15th place finish last time out. He's doing a very solid job at the moment. What a very different race from the last time. Crazy in the same way, but different in every other.
Yeah, Capet and Gillison, the two drivers that could potentially spoil it for Cihan and Lerner. They get a little bit further up the order, but it looks more like Capet is the one who could gain some places here.
I think Gillison's more likely to move backwards. He's just not looking strong in the damaged car. Here's Adam Pinches directly behind Alexandre Vermont. Two drivers who have made their way in touring cars, not so much GTs, but here they are battling away. Or Vermont looking down the inside, trying to pull off a Baldi. Two drivers of very high quality. Of course, Adam Pinches moved over into Williams.
Oh, Gillison! Gillison has spun again!
Oh no, he's taking everyone with him.
I don't think he has. But Keithley's all of a sudden in P11. And Capet is up to P9.
Yeah, that moves Capet into the qualification position, because that extra point is enough to move him on to 20. Three drivers on 20 points. Moritz Lerner, Emery Cihan, Risto Capet currently on countback. Moritz Lerner the highest of that, Risto Capet then second, and Emery Cihan with 0 points to his name in this race. Because of course the countback goes to this race. Look at that in the foreground. You've got Adam Pinches, Alexander Vermont trying to go around the outside of the Hungarian driver. There's a little bit of rubbing between the two. Or there's a bit more rubbing on the exit though, as Alexander Vermont just desperately trying to hang around the outside. Not quite good enough, but a good attempt for the Frenchman. The Hungarian of Adam Pinches under a lot of pressure. Like we said though, the Hungarian of Adam Pinches used to drive for ACR Zaxby alongside the likes of Jack Keithley and that like. Now moved over to Williams Gym Esports. Now down the inside, Alexander Vermont. A lot of aggression now, going to spin him out. That's it.
I do not understand how Vermont is not backing out there.
No.
Once he's made the contact. Oh, and he gets passed by Kunze on the outside. Great move.
Now down the inside goes Gassner. Car behind not able to get by Risto Capet. Another point to his name, and that would be pretty much a secure position in qualifying. These two are going to go side by side. Gassner on the inside, Vermont on the outside. Not getting that good run. Now Risto Capet's going to try and go around the outside, but I think he's a bit more patient than that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Vermont sort of left his nose. It was... I can't... Well, no, okay, no, sorry. I do get it. I understand why, you know, you're obviously trying to make the move up and stuff like that, but realistically there, it's not really going to work. It's a bit dangerous as well, thus the contact. I think from that, a potential penalty will be headed to the Frenchman's way. Obviously, I'm not the disciplinary committee, so I can't say, so I won't confirm that.
Yeah, it looked like, certainly from the outside like he could have lifted off at some point, and he just didn't do it. So Capet now, of course, gaining one more place, looking more and more likely for him. Jumping Lerner now in the standings as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't even add that into the equation. Obviously, Pinches had actually been spun out onto the points equation in my head. Never mind, that's my apologies. So yes, that's an extra point. So it's 21 now to Risto Capet. He now moves up into 4th place on the qualifiers. Top of my head. So that's just getting slightly more comfortable as the afternoon progresses for the Estonian driver, AAA Esports.
And just one thing about the penalties as well, if you get 3 strikes, so a normal penalty gets 1 strike, and you know, one that's pretty stupid gets you 2 strikes, and 3 strikes if it's,
bad.
Borderline on purpose. And 3 strikes and you're banned from the next shootout.
Oh dear.
So certainly an incentive to drive fair here.
You've got to be harsh in these circumstances when it comes to the rule book, because you're playing for a fairly, it is a very big prize. Of course, the massive prize pool to get once you're on the grid. So to get onto the grid, you really need to make sure these drivers are behaving themselves. Is that Moritz? No, it's not. Moritz Leonard's the one a bit further behind that, never mind. I was thinking that was Moritz Leonard, the car director. I was like, oh, he's catching very quick. But no, Alex Donovan still just cruising away at the top. It's all good. Only less than 5 minutes for the German to wrestle his way around the circuit before picking up 25 crucial points to book his place on the main grid. Not something I was actually really, honestly, I wasn't expecting that from Alex Donovan after how the first round went. It did not go well, let's say that. Come here though, and 2 podiums, that is the Alex Donovan we know. Can't ever count this man out. Nor can you count this man out. 20 points. I believe he's picking up from this. Obviously 0 points in the first. After that contact between himself and his teammate at T2 at Austria, you would have said that was Moritz Lerner done. But he's kept his head high and was like, no, I'm going for this. Currently a 2nd position, maybe not the one he wanted. He was looking for P1. That would have qualified him in 100% in this scenario. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure 2nd position could be a very healthy result for the Williams Esports driver. Of course, the other ones in the top 5 at the moment: Jesper Eriksson, Kevin Siggy, and Julian Kunze. 4 at the moment. 4 of the top 5, I believe, are your qualifiers. It's only Julian Kunze who's not the qualifier, who's in the top 5 at the moment, because the spot that he's taking up goes actually to Risto Capet, who's had a couple of good races. P4 in the last one, P7 at present.
And he's gone past Romano as well.
An extra point in his bag.
Change too much unless Chihan gets into the points, but Chihan is pretty far behind.
What position is
2 minutes
Chihan
55, P18.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go behind Karel Vega, Swizeric, and Pitch to get actually into the points paying positions. Oh, that's Moronovic. I think there's some drivers who can take some potential though. Emery Chihan's one who can go like, look, I've had a good round. Let me move that into and carry that momentum into round 3. Of course, still massively strong drivers. Drivers that we would have suspected would have already qualified, as we brought up earlier. But a few surprises on that grid, and do you know what? Love seeing it. Absolutely love seeing it. 6 points to this man's tally in this race. A guy who realistically should have qualified, but a drive-through penalty in both the race 2s that we've had in the shootout so far have left Jack Keithley wondering, nope, maybe it's not my year.
Gillison there, still with some leg problems, but even if Keithley overtakes him, it won't be enough.
No.
Sitting on 15 points at the moment. Chihan and Lerner both on 20 points.
Could count back for that final spot once again, Rob. We saw that in shootout 1.
Very close to leaving the server there with his leg. While Pejic just holding on against Frederic for the final point in the race.
1 minute 22 to go, so we are 2 laps to go, I think. Because I think Donovan would have crossed the line within. Yeah, he has definitely. So there will be 2 laps. Unless he backs off, blocks the massive train, and we get like Monza-style qualifying from Formula 1, where it's just a track of cars. I don't see that happening. I think Donovan's more than happy to do another lap in the lead. You kind of not really bother to do another lap when you win, do you? Well, I'd say that from someone who's not really won too much. You've won more than I have.
I don't think the gap to Lerner is big enough to really start playing games here.
No, it's not. Just do the laps you've got to do. Take the 25 points and savour every moment.
And for Jesper Eriksson, this would be his... Wow, he's still sliding there. This would be his first podium on RaceRoom. At least in the Server 1 race. He's won a couple of races in Server 2 and Server 3 in Esports WTCR, but he's never been that good.
I am so surprised by this young man. He is absolute quality. Definitely one for the future of RaceRoom.
Oh, let's check with Donnie. That could be a checkered flag here.
5. Oh, it's very. I think it is.
I think he will back out now. Oh, I think it is. There's a checkered flag on top.
It is. There we go. That was a hard one to call. That was well timed by Alex Donovan, who takes victory and the top qualifier with 41 points provisional. Obviously very provisional. But still, absolute quality drive. I think his is one that you definitely don't have to put any questions on. Maurice Lerner in second position. Another good drive. We were talking up the man who's taken third position, Jesper Eriksson. First podium on Division 1 and a qualifying position for him at present. P4 for Kevin Siggy, race winner back in Austria. Then Julian Kunze rounds out the top 5. Risto Capet, who is in 7th position, should be at other qualifier as well. Mark Gass has done a good job for 6th position, though, that must be said. Alexander Vermont, a little bit of a question over his finish due to that contact between himself and Adam Pinches. Isaac Schullerson was one who realistically could have taken the opportunity to qualify. That with Jack Keithley as well. Unfortunately, those two languishing down the order in 9th and 10th.
I also think something changed in the standings there towards the end, because we have actually Svideric down in P15 in the end. See if we can figure that out and get you the official. Well, not the official, of course, because it's still before stewarding.
Yeah, we need those.
The provisional top 5 standings here. Fastest lap, Moritz Löhner had a great race, and it proved that even if you don't have the luck in the first race, you should still continue and still have a good showing here in the second race.
How many times do we have to say it in sim racing and in motorsport in general? You must never, ever, ever give up, because you never know when it's going to go your way. And this time for Moritz Lerner, it does so with an excellent drive to second position here in Zandvoort. Of course, those standings that we know will be fairly provisional, because I'm sure there's a lot the stewards need to do when it comes to the question marks they hand out to the field after, particularly, in my opinion, particularly race 1, but I'm sure race 2 has a lot to answer as well. But to be fair, that was 2 extremely exciting racing for these qualifiers. Of course, it makes us all much more excited for the main series when it begins.
And it won't be long until it begins. Starting at the end of April in Oschersleben, in the paddock of the Real GT Masters. So, Lewis, driver of the race for you. You just need to talk a little bit while I figure out these standings.
No worries. You mat yourselves away. To be fair, right, race 1 for me is flat out Alex Dorniden. Alex Dorniden did such a good job in that first race with the battling. He had to come up the order. Did such a good job with the battling between himself and Risto Capet, muscling his way around the outside of T2. Those two going side by side. I mean, like, kudos to Risto Capet as well. Those two greatly experienced in GTs. Alex Dorniden, very, very good job. Race 2, Jesper Eriksson. I mean, I don't mean to sort of like, really big him up or whatever, but it was his time to shine, and he took it with both hands and did an incredible job to move themselves into the qualifying position. There are a few drivers, though, that there are some big question marks over as to how they're going to be. To start, obviously, Jack Keithley in a qualifying position in round 1. Not able to take advantage of that. Round 2, looking pretty strong. Again, not able to take that. When is it going to come his way? Well, we'll have to wait and see. See if round 3 is his time, but it's odd for a driver of that caliber to take 3 attempts to qualify. And at the moment, the way things look, he is the only primary Williams Esports driver that hasn't qualified. Moritz Lerner came across, did this one, qualified, obviously, series champion as well. Cooper Brzezinski, Nikodem Wisniewski, both Williams drivers, qualified last time. So Williams looking pretty strong. Jack Keithley, somehow, I don't really want to say it, looking like the weakest link of that, which is a bizarre thing to say indeed. Nevertheless, it is what it is. I think we've got some drivers that look pretty strong. Emery, Chihan, Hanyovsky, the likes of that might move themselves a bit further up the order. Come the next round, of course, we've got plenty of drivers still taking part. I'd like to see Tim Yarst on this field because we know his caliber and quality. Of course, next round we go to 2 tracks which we all know. We've raced. I mean, I've seen too much of the Nürburgring these last few months, but still, that's what we're racing. It's a good one. There is your schedule. You can see Nürburgring. We go first, and then we go to Hockenheim. That is in a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully, myself and Rob can join you for that and take you through the action. And then after that, a couple of weeks after, we head to the Sachsenring, where we do that twice. What car is going to be best on both of those? I think the difference at the Nürburgring and the Hockenheim as to which car's best is significantly lower than what we've had at Red Bull Ring Zandvoort and then Oschersleben Most. It's a bit close. It's still not perfect, but it's a bit closer than obviously Sachsenring. Picking a car that works around the Sachsenring is, well, the name of the game. But will we see the entire grid in the same car? That's the big question. I don't think so. Hopefully we see a nice grid. All the cars looking pretty strong over some of the racing we've had today. Don't know if you're ready, Rob. I've been spinning this.
I think so. I hope it works this time.
It does. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Your provisional standings then. Alex Dornadon, 41 points. Kevin Siggy, 38. The two main drivers of the day taking 2 race victories. McLaren Shadow and FA Racing Esports between the two of them. Jesper Eriksson, the surprise qualifier, but definitely deservedly so. And then Risto Capet, Maurice Lerner, rounding out that top 5. Emery Chihan, joint on points, but not good enough to qualify. And Jack Heathley, a long way off in realistic terms compared to where we thought he should be. Wow, what a round, Rob. What a round.
Yeah, this was quite a crazy round. Lots of surprises here. Lots of new favorites. Siggy and Dorneden certainly have shown their potential here, have shown that we might not count them out for the full season.
No, a lot of never giving up, a lot of potential for the future, and hopefully an exciting prospect in the championship when the main series begins in a couple of months' time. Thank you very much for watching the second shootout. Hopefully you can join us in Shootout 3. Until then, Lewis McGlade, Robert Wiesenmüller, thank you very much for joining us. And until then, goodbye.